in 3, 2,
Right,
1.
The one for me now.
Oh, okay. And
start. How's everyone doing this fine Sunday night? I am one of your hosts for this amazing comic slash I guess pop culture podcast here on the YouTubes on all your streaming devices. I am one of your hosts for PS Comics I Love You, and I am JR, aka the Dark King Cabacungan. And to the right, left, above, below me, man, I can't figure out the orientation sometimes, man. It's the one, the only, the voice of reason, aka
Kevin Pillow. I wanted to go a little Rob Van Dam on me.
Oh,
What up, everybody? It is, in this particular case, a Sunday night, and we're coming to you from our usual time spot, coming to you from the COVID studios of Carefree Broadcasting, official pop culture podcast. As JR said, PS Comics, I love you, and I might be moving here every once in a while because I got a new chair. Oh, it's so comfy. A lot better than the folding chairs I've been rocking for like the last 38 weeks. It's episode number 38, simply entitled Bust Out Your Tinfoil Hats. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going full scale what does that mean mode, kind of like what if style of episode. Where do we think the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going? And if we have time, the DC Extended Universe, because God knows it's going to take an entire show to figure out that bullshit out. But like JR said, he is the Dark King. I am the voice of reason. You can find us both on social media. He also not JR Comics 42 on Instagram. Yours truly at Voice of Reason 23 on all social media platforms. And just to make it simple, I have changed my name on YouTube. I haven't changed the URL, but if you type out Voice of Reason 23, it should come up on YouTube to make it a little bit easier. But I am working on getting the URL for our YouTube channel to say Voice of Reason 23. Eventually, we will do an official PS Comics I Love You YouTube page, but we just got to build up the audience and then switch things over. It's all kinds of bullshit.
Yeah, so guys, so again, as we get to our main news and notes and main thing, thank you guys for just rocking with us for as long as you have, man. We truly appreciate it. We thank you guys for all your support, all your kind words, and as well as your ideas, and continue to hit us with your ideas and everything on our socials, as well as our YouTube, as well as our emails. That is going to be on pscomicsIloveyou@gmail.com, guys. Again, we will definitely look through all your recommendations and what we should talk about, what you think we could talk about, and what we definitely need to talk about, whether it be things concerning pop culture, comic books, and or just whatever fits your fancy at the moment. So just swing it back to my host here, and we'll go back to news and notes, right?
Yeah, with that said, too, by the way, shout out to our boy Daniel Cueto.
Yeah, man.
Talked to him this past Wednesday, free comic book day. I wish it was free comic book day. Some bitch chick took my money. She's gonna take my money next week too, because I'm throwing down for a key issue. Throwing down Wolverine Volume 3, issue number 76, I believe, and that would be part 1 of Old Man Logan. I have all of the issues except for part 1, first appearance of Old Man Logan, and I know it's probably past its current prime.
It's still nice to have, man. I remember that book first came out, as well as I saw it when the first time I saw it at the shop, man. They had it for a decent price, even at the time back in.
It's a decent price now.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
But that's gonna be my big purchase next week. Just gotta throw down some cash. Chick, give me a good cash price. Yeah. By the way, guys, right now cash is king. If I could throw a little collector knowledge your way, and I think JR and I were talking right before we hit the record button. Yep. We're going to do a collecting episode here probably next week, along with a bonus episode. We're going to do, hopefully we can get it done on Friday night after the premiere.
Yeah, man.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which, by the way, for those of you, they're not going to do it the same way as WandaVision. We got episodes 1 and 2 of the 9-episode season on day 1. As far as I understand, you're going to only get the 1 episode, and they should be between 45 minutes to an hour long. It's a 6-episode season, and we're going to try to do like a wrap-up show on Friday nights and get it and dump it out to you guys as quick as possible. pretty raw kind of wrap up of each. I don't know if you've got to see the sneak peek, the little like it was like a 2-minute scene or something like that that Disney dropped. Oh
No.
my gosh, dude!
I try to stay as bare minimum as possible. I want to go in this blind.
Understandable. It's just a little small scene. It's probably completely out of context, but the Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie absolutely are so good together. We'll talk about that more in just a little bit. But again, we got a collecting episode coming up this week to kind of book in some of the big events that have taken place. Well, obviously with WandaVision, with the big announcements that came in back in December, which we're going to talk about tonight as well. So again, plenty to talk about. So with that said, as JR said, let's get into the news and notes. And right off the bat, we couldn't have a Marvel episode without talking about Marvel right off the bat. And we have mentioned this before, and we'll mention it again, is that Kevin Feige, who hit the ejector seat on the Marvel television universe and decanonized it. And of course, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the finale of WandaVision, a lot of people say that it has officially been decanonized with Agatha Harkness having the Darkhold at this time, and it being different than what we saw in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and also referenced in shows like Cloak and Dagger and The Runaways. So the Marvel TV side hasn't really been kind of Kevin Feige and companies kind of wash their hands of Marvel TV. But you know what? Me being the not being able to let go, I can easily say, well, where did Agatha didn't say where she got the Darkhold from. She very easily could have gone into the Dark Realm and got it from the Ghost Rider. And of course, for the last time we saw it within official Marvel canon, we saw the Darkhold in possession, at least from what I can remember, and I could be wrong, was in the possession of Robbie Reyes when he exiled himself to the Dark Realm to remove the Darkhold from the realm of human beings and whatnot. So, but with that said, Kevin Feige was still a huge fan of what happened in the Marvel TV side. It's been no secret that he actually really enjoyed Daisy Johnson. He enjoyed Chloe Bennett as Daisy Johnson, aka Quake, aka Sky. Obviously, he was a fan of Clark Gregg, and his portrayal of Phil Coulson, which, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, Phil Coulson made his debut in Marvel Entertainment with Iron Man 1, and then eventually with Thor and Iron Man 2 and Avengers. So, and then he was canonized. He was put into the comic books along with the members of S.H.I.E.L.D., like Leopold Fitz, Gemma Simmons, Melinda May, Sky at the time. All those characters were made into comic book canon. So he liked those characters. He also liked Charlie Cox as Daredevil. He also liked Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones. No word on what he thought of I can't think of the guy who played Iron Fist, but then again,
him. I know what you're talking about.
Finn Jones, who played Danny Rand. But he was a fan of Mike Coulter and whatnot. But the guy I think that he was the most pleased with in a titular character was Jon Bernthal as Frank Castle, aka the Punisher. And if you have not seen the Punisher series on Netflix, I don't care if it's official canon or not, you have got to watch it. Season 1 was incredible. It was a great political thriller. A lot of blood and guts and cursing and espionage and just a lot of good shit. And but as my good friend JR has put in the notes, it is rumored that Jon Bernthal is going to come back as the Marvel vigilante, the Punisher, aka Frank Castle, in the Punisher War Journal. Now, War Journal is one of the most famous storylines of Frank Castle's run in Marvel Comics. I am in possession of multiple I believe. Let me check. I think it is volume. I think I have volume one of the War Journal. But Jon Bernthal, oh my gosh, so good. And for those of you who haven't followed him, obviously he appeared in The Walking Dead.
Yep.
Let me see. Oh, I have Punisher War Journal volume 1 and volume 2, and I have Punisher War Journal number 1 and number 7 in that volume. And little known fact, JR, do you know who the penciler, artist, and inker was on volume 1 of Punisher War Journal?
I just forgot his name. But I do know it was a. You see me at the story. He's the writer. He's the author that actually spoke out against a lot of the policemen who wear the Punisher shirt by saying, "Hey, if you wear the Punisher shirt, dude, you have no clue what you're actually representing." It's
no, not the creator of the Punisher. The guy who penciled, inked, and drew Punisher War Journal number 1. You might know him. He I don't know if he had much of a career. His name is Jim Lee.
Jim,
so he had a little bit of a career. But
it's crazy.
So yeah, I do have that War Journal. So yeah, I'll be rooting for that show to greenlit. Could you imagine premiering this Friday on Disney Plus? It's the Punisher War Journal.
Well, from what I'm hearing too, and from rumors out there saying that since Feige has been so adamant to not have anything above PG-13 on Disney Plus, there is another streaming platform out there that is in possession of Disney, which you can have a lot more rated R content, which they do want now, and that, of course, my friend, is Hulu Plus, and so
Hulu.
It's a big possibility.
It's a good possibility. I think that's probably where they're going to put it. I mean, it's where they put what did they put on Hulu? Let's see. Runaways was on Hulu. Runaways was a Hulu original.
Yep.
Which, by the way, I have reason to believe that, and I know a lot of it has to do with that Kevin Feige's relationship with Jeff Lowe became very, very strained when he kind of sided with Perlmutter, I think it is, the head of Marvel Entertainment.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Perlmutter?
Yeah, Perlmutter, the original
head of Marvel Entertainment. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when Feige got the okay to report directly to Bob Iger, it was all over for
Jeff.
I mean, for like Marvel's for Jeff Lowe, but he's a great storyteller.
He just backed the wrong horse, man. I understand that Jeff Lowe is an old school guy. You just backed the wrong horse at that time. It happens. It happens now and then. Jeff Lowe is what you would call the old guard in a lot of these things. Like you see his repertoire, and he had some good relations with Perlmutter before. It's just that
Perlmutter, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, Perlmutter. It's just more so like just the how everything was going. Like, nah, man, Jeff Lowe, nah. he's doing good now wherever he's at. It's just that you just backed the wrong horse in the end, my guy. That's it.
Yeah, it said JR said here, Mikey Sutton of Geek OS. What is it? Geekosur.
Yeah, Geekosur Mag. Yeah, it's so from the news that I got is that supposedly Mikey Sutton is actually is a well-known media insider who has broken these news before, specifically on Punisher War Journal too. Is that it is looked at to possibly be the first rated R Marvel IP of the MCU that won't actually be premiering on Disney Plus. He's saying that it's a big possibility that they want to keep it a heavy R, rated R. And
there's no way not to do it.
That's what I'm saying. And like that's great, because one of the biggest things per se that I felt was holding back the original Netflix inclination of it was that it was Punisher before it was Castle before Punisher.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But now if it's War Journal, we're gonna see Punisher first and foremost. We're gonna see Jon Bernthal, his craziest. I'm talking about season 3, Walking Dead, where he was against everybody and he's just going crazy. And yeah, that's the Bernthal that I can't wait to see back. I hope they do have that scene. I think it was either in volume 1 or volume 2 where I talked about before about the Punisher, where he drowns one of his own squad mates for attempting to rape a Viet Cong woman sniper. Like that's the same one. So I'm hoping they keep that in. And also with small other news too, that is a big possibility that if Deadpool does come back, right, and if it's either gonna be a movie or some other iteration of that, it's gonna also appear on Hulu Plus. So rather than having a Disney, if it's a movie, it'll be on Hulu Plus, right, rather than Disney Plus. So cool. That's a cool little tidbit I saw too. But yeah, man.
So yeah, it would be going to Hulu. And I know that there was a rumor going around that I've never seen anything official reported on it that Ryan Reynolds walked away from the table for Deadpool 3. But I have yet to see that reported from anything worth a damn. I usually like to source comicbook.com or comicbookmovie.com, and neither one of them are talking about it. And I've followed.
It'd be pretty weird for him to kind of walk away from that, considering the fact that he's the one that brought in the writers that are initially gonna pen the rest of the script with himself, and you can't make a Deadpool movie without Ryan Reynolds. I believe that. I feel that you have to make that man happy, right?
Yeah.
I have heard though that Zaza Beetz might not be coming back as Domino, which that would suck if that would happen because I loved her in the role as well. That would be ew. But yeah, it's just more so the next year is gonna play out really. Next year we're gonna find out a lot more of these things to see whether or not we're gonna have Deadpool 3 in the cards, as well as what are the other TV Marvel shows that can come up. So I'm hoping that we have a certain level of resurgence of these older or these Netflix TV shows, because hey, Charlie Cox is supposedly gonna come back and play Deadpool and play Daredevil, and as well as all these other characters. So I would like to see a lot of the Harlem and Devil's Kitchen, I guess street level defenders come back in a big way.
And I wouldn't mind Finn Jones coming back. I kind of liked him. I don't think he got his fair shake. I know that it was too obvious to put him in the costume, and I know they kind of hinted at it a little bit, but I would like for them to, and I was just reading this too, that during the press conference for Falcon the Winter Soldier, someone asked Kevin Feige if he could ever see Shield or Hydra return. And his quote says, "Well, again, you can always look at the comics, right? We always take our lead from what has happened before, and those organizations come and go in various forms over the years. So they always could return. There are new organizations like Sword that you saw in WandaVision. So there's always an inherent need for above board or shadowy organizations to come of some kind in the MCU. Now, again, I wish Mr. Feige, if you were watching, that would be, first off, that'd be awesome. Little retweet would be freaking huge for us. Awesome. I know that there's probably some kind of legalese about what they can and can't use in the form of, but at the same time, they've added like Runaways, for example. Runaways has been added to the Marvel section of Disney Plus.
Yep.
And I don't know if
I'm hoping the Gifted gets on there.
I just don't know if I have not seen The Gifted.
I would hope that.
I do know that they list the X-Men universe and the Fantastic Four under Marvel Legacy. I think it's like the Marvel Legacy phase or something like that.
Yeah.
But they do have like shows like Runaways on Disney Plus, which they own the rights to, because, well, I guess technically they own the rights to Freeform and Cloak and Dagger as well. So they just haven't added it to the Disney Plus platform yet. Which, by the way, completely underrated show. If you have a chance to watch Cloak and Dagger, I actually really enjoyed what they did with the characters, and they dared to do what Marvel had really not done before, other than maybe crossing over with Agent Carter with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Cloak and Dagger and the Runaways did a crossover. And again, Feige, I would love for you to just, if there's some continuity issues, just even slightly. I mean, come on, we dealt with 8 years later. I mean, it's not like we haven't had some continuity issues before. So just make it canon. Just play with us a little bit, okay?
Yeah, they'll smooth it out. They'll smooth it out like every other freaking source material in the history of mankind. They'll even it out afterwards.
Yeah, time travel.
Basically.
It's always a way. That's how the world is fixed, is with time travel. That's how they fixed the X-Men universe. It's how they fixed Endgame. Which, by the way, James Cameron.
Oh,
back to number 1.
I mean,
fucker.
What the heck is up with that, dude? 11 years after, really?
You know what though? They did it well. Like, for example, Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, and Return of the Jedi both got re-released during quarantine. They showed them in drive-ins. And they count. You sold box office, it counts. And so you actually saw the inflation number of Star Wars Episode 1 went up, because if you take into account of inflation, Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, is the number 1 grossing movie of all time. And I think behind it would be is actually Gone with the Wind. But yeah, because I think Star Wars with inflation beat Gone with the Wind back in 77. But not non-inflation, the numbers are: number 1 now is Avatar, number 2 is Avengers Endgame, and number 3 is Black Panther. And I don't know who's in the top. I don't know if Batman is still in the top.
Maybe top 10, possibly. Top 10, possibly. I know that Titanic wasn't that far behind.
Oh, you know what? You're right. Titanic was
up there.
It was like number 4. Let's see records.
And also, what's called? I know up there is Force Awakens.
Yes,
Force Awakens.
All-time domestic.
Yeah.
Here we go. All-time domestic. Technically, yes. No, it is. Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, is number 1 in the domestic box office. Endgame finished number 2, Avatar number 3, Black Panther 4, Infinity War 5, Titanic 6, Jurassic World 7, The Avengers 8, Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, it finishes at number 9, and believe it or not, number 10 highest grossing film of all time domestically, number 10, The Incredibles 2. The Dark Knight all the way down there at number 12. But that's just tickets gone through the roof. If you adjust for inflation, there it is. And Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, is number 1. Titanic is number 2. E.T. is number 3.
Yep.
I was wrong. I thought it was Gone with the Wind. But Jurassic Park, still in the top 10 for adjusted inflation. That was massive. When Jurassic Park came out in 93, that shattered records. I mean, it was insane. But now it's just been destroyed.
Yeah.
But
it is what it is, man. It's just,
but no, congratulations to Mr. Cameron.
As well as Disney again, because Disney also owns Avatar now. So
that's right. It says right there, 20th Century Fox. Duh.
Yeah, that's right. So
it's so crazy. You look at the top 10. Look at the top 10. We'll go 10 to 1. Number 10, Disney. 9. Technically, okay. The Incredibles, that's Pixar, right?
Yeah, but that's still Disney.
I know, but 10 Pixar, 9 is Lucasfilm, 8 Marvel Studios, 7 Universal, 6 Paramount, 5 Marvel Studios, 4 Marvel Studios, 3 20th Century Fox, 2 Marvel Studios, and number 1 Lucasfilm. So what 80% of that list is Walt Disney Studios properties. And then you keep looking in the top 20.
There's more.
Is the top 20. The only thing that's not Disney owned property is number 12, The Dark Knight, Warner Brothers.
That's right.
So that's just a little peek behind the numbers. But again, to go back on topic, Bernthal, we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
As Frank Castle and
happy for him.
Speaking of franchises, Borderlands.
Yeah.
Round out their cast by adding Haley Bennett.
Yep, Haley Bennett
from the Magnificent Seven, Hillbilly Elegy, and Hillbilly Elegy star.
Yeah, man, Hillbilly Elegy that came out just recently. I think on Netflix. So, Hillbilly Elegy is actually is based off a book that came out probably 2 years ago now. And so Haley Bennett she joins the long-running series, man. It's a video game that I have. It's pretty close to my heart, man. I have yet to finish the third one though because I've had the time. But
Video
Borderlands. I always thought that game would be a movie because of how zany and how kind of campy that game is too. It's like you got guns that talk to you. You got like machines like Claptrap, which is played by Jack freaking Black, which is amazing. This little like motorized machine AI system that goes around and just roasts you all the single time, right? It's gonna be played by Jack Black. Like it's if you guys haven't played the games, man, you're missing out. It's definitely one of those games where like it's a looter shooter ish type of thing where like you kill all these enemies, you get better guns, and these guns are crazy. And one of the biggest aspects of the game was that you get these freaking crazy ass guns that like shoot thousands of bullets in every direction, or you have a gun that like the second you instantly pop a headshot, like a rocket fly out of the guy's head or something like that. You got homing. All these crazy stuff, as well as all these zany characters, man. So, what I thought was gonna be like one of those. It's gonna be like some type of B-list movie, maybe even C-list, because they're not gonna be really in there. Who's gonna play? Who's gonna play? Like a crazy like Phoenix S type character. Who's gonna play? A ninja that is gonna be clad in black all throughout the whole film. Who's gonna play? Basically this mechanized robot, that's 2 feet tall. Who's gonna do that, right? Well, first name off the bat, Kate Blanchett.
That's your girl.
That's crazy. They got Kate Blanchett, and then they got Kevin Hart. What? Then Jamie Lee Curtis and Jack Black playing Claptrap, and now they got Haley Bennett. And as well too. Good tidbit. One of the characters there, her name's Tiny Tina. She's one of the younger characters that like she goes crazy. She's not crazy, but like she's one of those like, kind of wild cards where if you're a friend, you're cool. If not, she'll probably rocket launcher you to death type of characters, right? She's like under the age of 12. She's being played right now by a girl named Ariana Greenblatt. And for those who know, I'm pretty sure you might remember this. It's the girl who played young Gamora in Infinity Wars.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. And so that's cool. I'm hesitantly excited for this film. I'm wanting to see what the first trailer is going to look like. I want to see how Jack Black sounds like as Claptrap, and I want to see if it's a serious film, like serious in the sense of like they're taking this seriously by being as honest to the source material as possibly can, meaning that they go crazy with it.
Yeah.
And man, it's just like when you have these names like freaking Kate Blanchett and Kevin Hart and Jamie Lee Curtis, something like, there is some level of seriousness being roped into this thing. So I'm hoping for the best. I really am. But yeah.
Well, there's not a great track record of movies based on video games, but I will say this.
Don't tell me that, man. Don't tell me that.
I will say this is we have Mortal Kombat coming out.
Oh gosh, man.
That movie looks intense.
So yeah,
to be to say the least.
Yeah.
And for the kids, Sonic the Hedgehog wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
It is, of course, we're hoping sets up the
Sonic universe.
Yeah. I mean, you had Tails at the end, but no. What did someone say? There was a great meme, and it was Nick Fury. It was Samuel L. Jackson walking on set, like he did in Iron Man 1 with, and he's like, "I'm here to talk to you about the what was it? The
Avengers program."
No, it's that line where he's like, "I'm here to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative." But he's like, he goes, Sonic, I'm here to talk to you about the Smash Brothers initiative. And and then he has Detective Pikachu sitting on his shoulder. And I was just like, oh yeah, it'd be great. That would be epic to see Super Smash Brothers turned into a movie. But moving right along, we've got some tinfoil hats to put on. We've got DC presentation revealed at the AT&T investors call a couple of days ago. Live action Zatanna is in development. So for those of you who all have some of those Adam Hughes, is Adam Hughes that primarily did, or was it?
There was a lot of people that did Zatanna. I think Adam Hughes. I think there's a couple volumes of Zatanna that happened, and the ones that I have the most of was from Adam Hughes. I think he did some of the major ones per se.
Who does your Power Girl?
Adam Hughes.
That's Adam Hughes. Okay, yeah. Adam Hughes very much. He's the pinup god. He is, and it's kind of like for like the longest time there, J. Scott Campbell is synonymous with Spider-Man and Mary Jane Watson.
Neil Adams, a lot of these
guys. Actually, no. You have Jim Lee was, he was X-Men for so many years, and now he does Batman covers.
Yep.
And his work with Batman is incredible. But Adam Hughes' work on Power Girl and Zatanna is amazing. I mean, it just, like JR said it, he goes, the pinup style, that's what he's known for.
The man can make some curvy, very attractive ladies. And as sexist,
Alex Ross is who I was thinking of, but Alex Ross doesn't do. Alex Ross is not.
He's more so the old school type of super realistic realism, right? But Adam Hughes, man, as sexist as it sounds, man, those pinups, they sell books.
He does, and he keeps it kind of classy as you can get, and
he's really grown as an artist, and we see a lot of his art progress. I mean, he has drawn for Playboy before. He has drawn for a couple other publications of that nature. But dude, the man can fucking draw.
Absolutely.
His line art is amazing. The way he uses Copic markers is phenomenal. And so, for me, if you're looking for pinups, he's a standard. And like people who are like art germ, he's doing his way of pinups, right? Are up there. I would probably even say Mark Brooks up there. But when you're trying to be compared with pinups per se, right? And of course Milo Manera, even though he hasn't really been in the game as much anymore either. But for pinups right now, for me, it has to be you gotta put Adam Hughes on the top of that list.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what's great is I was very surprised when I went to Comic-Con, was how accessible he was.
Absolutely.
And this thing is not working. How accessible he was for fans to get commissions and stuff like that. I was expecting like a line around the block, but he was always teamed up with the big stage, the big booth with comicsketchbook.com, comicsketchbookart.com, which I'll say it can suck it. They can suck it. I've met some cool people though. I will say this. I got a book, and I'll find it. I'll have it pulled up by the end of the episode. I got a book signed. It was a Superman 1000.
Okay.
And I got it signed. It was the A cover.
Okay.
And I got it signed by pretty much everyone I can get my hands on who had something to do with that book. I got them to sign it.
Yeah.
And there were like 2 or 3 people that needed to sign it. And I couldn't get them to sign it because I just kept my work schedule didn't match up with their appearance schedule. So it's like, Yeah. So I befriended a young lady who worked behind the counter at that particular site, that booth. super nice lady. She also doubles as a professional cosplayer. Um, and she was very helpful when I was trying to get some commission work signed by an artist that was at the booth. And I said, listen, I trust you. I need this book signed by this person, this person, this person. And they're like, I'll see what I can do. And ended up getting it signed. And I remember telling her the story. I'm like, listen, I'm not trying to get sympathy points, but I've had shitty luck um with your presenter, with your company. And I'm not really I'm not really like having high hopes for this. So um whatever you can do, help me out as best you can. So but I'll try to find that issue. It was really cool. It's one of my prized possessions. Yeah, I'll have to find it. I'll look up a little bit more. But no, I was always kind of surprised, going back to the original topic. I was always really surprised at how short Adam's lines were. But I think a lot of it had to do with kind of like with Art Germ. Like if you go by the first year I met Art Germ in 2017. I think it was 2017. Um Dude, I had no time, and I walked right up to Art Germ's booth. I was like, oh shit, that's Art Germ. And then the next 2 years were a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
This last go around, I almost didn't get to his booth. Matter of fact, this guy over here, was it you or was it Atner?
I think it might be Atner, actually.
Where I was like, Stanley, I have to get your signature. Can you just sign these 3 books? And because I just wanted Atner's book signed. And then he's like, no, what do you need signed? And I'm like, I have a whole stack. He's like, no, just give them to me. Just give it to me. I'll do it. And I'm like, I was like, I just need these 3 signed. He's like, I don't. And he's like, because he kind of seemed annoyed.
Yeah.
But I think he was more annoyed at his staff for being kind of dicks. Because we got hosed the first day. They reversed the line. They're like, we need you to stand this way. And I was like second or third in line. And then they're like, oh no, we need you to stand this way. And they flipped it. And all of a sudden I went from third to line to last in line.
Oh, man.
I'm like, wait, what? And the guy's like, tough, you'll get in. And then like, I remember I was the last. I got all the way back up. I was first in line. And the guy goes, line's capped. Fuck you. Screw you guys. And I was like, at that point, I was determined to get Art Germ's autograph. So but no, going back to Zatanna, it'll be kind of curious to see how they could do, because again, like JR said, it was very much a pinup character.
I was kind of wondering,
does it fit into the Me Too movement?
I don't know. That's the thing. Like granted, I know we've come so far as a society per se, right? Not to have things be overtly sexual, even though it's a pinup type of thing. But at the same time, like Zatanna's her figure or her how she dresses is more in line to, I guess, more classical magicians of the time, of the era. The fishnet shirt, a little bit. I think she was wearing a unitard that was wrapped up in everything. So I'm also kind of wondering who's gonna play her, because she's had now in canon or in DC canon or in DC movies in general, maybe I think 3 actresses play her. So I'm wondering who's gonna fit the bill on this end too, specifically because I think before, one of the girls that played her in Smallville, if I remember correctly, one second, was either her name is Serenda Swan. There's another one too. I think the one of the girls that was supposed to play Wonder Woman, right? Way back when that was supposed to be a show on CW.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. She was
supposed to be someone else too. I think she was rumored to play Zatanna way back when. But yeah.
Now you got me looking, son of a bitch. I know what you're talking about. She was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
She was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She is Bobby Morse in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
All I know is that I remember her. She was because I'm a big
Adrian Palicki.
Adrian Palicki. Yeah. She was in the girl that I remember. The role that I remember playing was actually back in Supernatural when she played Sam's girlfriend, her very first girlfriend in season 1, episode 1, and she gets killed by a demon at the end of episode 1, and as Sam goes back to bed, she sees her hanging hanging on the freaking ceiling, and then her body burns up. That was the most craziest thing I've seen in a TV show at the time, man. I'm like, oh, okay then. Y'all killed her pretty fast. So, but yeah, I think she was rumored to play Zatanna at one point too, as well as Wonder Woman, which I would love to see her as Wonder Woman.
It was a more traditional, very Linda Carter-esque costume.
I get
And
that. Wait, you talking about her as Wonder Woman? She was fully dressed though. Like she had
no,
pants.
I know, but it was very much in that very bright, almost kind of like what we saw in Wonder Woman 84, which I believe is finally going to be coming to digital for purchase.
Yeah.
So we might see it return to HBO Max, but I think it's going to be available like on iTunes and Vudu and stuff like that very, very, very soon. But the costume that was shown, yeah, you're right. It was was not the bikini bottom style costume, but very much because Adrian, let's face it, is a voluptuous woman. She's got it in the right places to play the Amazon, and she's a tall, statuesque woman.
Yeah,
and she looked good. She looked good as the character, but I just think that it was going to be too cartoonish at the time when comic book characters were kind of transitioning into a more realistic, well-rounded character. And I think that in the long run, it was a bummer not seeing her play Diana Prince, but I think that hers, Bobby Morris, was a job well done too.
I mean, I still feel that she would still be a really, really great Wonder Woman now. And don't get me wrong, I got love for Gal Gadot, man. It's just more so, I don't know, it's because of my bias in the sense of like how I fell in love with the old animated shows, but I can't get past her accent, man. If it was more so for Greek accent, okay, understandably so, but it's such a heavy Israeli accent that I can't get past it for some reason. I don't know. It's my head can't click. It doesn't click well when I listen to it. Right? It's nothing wrong with the actress at all. Just more so for me, I know for that is that I'm so used to what the Wonder Woman that I grew up with, specifically the voice actress, her name escapes my mind at the moment, but how I'm so used to that one, right? And when I first heard the casting call, as well as some of the lines put out by Adriana Pilecki, I'm like, oh yeah, that's my Wonder Woman. That's my Wonder Woman. That's it. Cool with it. And then Gal Gadot came out, right? Because I think for me too, I remember Gal Gadot from freaking Fast and the Furious. And just the biggest thing, like granted, the later parts of Fast Furious is a little more crazier, but like the only thing remember when I think about Gal Gadot is her saving freaking Han by jumping off the plane, I think, and just shooting the guy while jumping off the plane that's going 100 miles per hour, supposedly dies in it. I'm that's the Gal Gadot I remember. I'm like, okay, here we go. But yeah, whatever. She's doing great things now. I'm great. I'm grateful. I'm happy that Gal Gadot is acting still to this day, because it's been said multiple times. We talked about multiple times that if she wasn't getting Wonder Woman, she was done. So
yeah.
I was just hoping Adriana would be my Wonder Woman, but then here we are.
And again, I'm holding out for, because I know that they've talked about wanting to bring Bobby Morris into. There's a possibility of Bobby being in the Hawkeye show, which we don't know. I guess. Oh shit. I guess we'll find out if she does, if the character does. Of course, Bobby Morris's Mockingbird. If she'll appear in the upcoming Hawkeye show, which I think is supposed to premiere sometime this year. So anyway, live action Zatanna. Leave us in the comments below who you think you would like to see play Zatanna, just based on some of the based on just what little I know about the character. If you're going to go with a young version, I had to really kind of think about it, but like, I don't know why, but Megan Fox jumps out to me.
Yeah, if anything too, actually, if they even go to like Justice League Dark, where it's a lot more adult, a lot more mature, right? In a sense, like she doesn't have the role of like, oh, she's eye candy per se, quote unquote, and she isn't that that they don't over sexualize her, but she's more so covered up. She's more so about like the dark arts, and she's more so a lot more reserved too. I think if I recall in Just League Dark, that was good. That was actually for me a really good Zatanna as well. And like, cool, it's New 52. It's more so of that era. I'll be down to even see. Yeah, I'll be down to see that Zatanna too. Just have a different take on it. So I think we're at that time now where like since DC are doing a lot of different things now with their superheroes, I wouldn't mind to see a different looking or different, basically, yeah, different Zatanna. See how we go from there. But yeah.
I will say that one of the fantasy casting for Zatanna was Haley Steinfeld, and of course, we know Haley Steinfeld is playing the new Hawkeye. She's playing Kate Bishop. The worst kept secret in Marvel that she was going to be cast as Kate Bishop pretty much since the moment they announced Hawkeye back in, I believe, at the now famous um, Hall H panel back in 2019, back when we were still allowed to have comic conventions. Which, by the way, real quick to kind of pick up where we left off last week, for those of you who didn't catch it, yeah, San Diego Comic-Con has been canceled for 2021. So is WonderCon. No word yet on any other of the small regional conventions. I know that one Amazing Con, which takes place in Las Vegas, where things are a little bit more open. No word yet on that. I also been asked by multiple people if I had heard anything from Palm Springs Comic-Con or Comic-Con Palm Springs. Of course, Palm Springs Comic-Con was the more small boutique style con that had two conventions and before they kind of pulled the plug on it, kind of to reboot it. I think, to be honest, I think that convention is kaput. Just based on the direction that a lot of the guys are going. Though, if you want to check it out, they've got a podcast that's going also on there. You can search it out, called Never Seen It. That's what it's called. The guys that
is it Palm Springs Comic Con or Comic Con Palm Springs? By what's
Palm Springs Comic Con was the smaller, kind of artistic, or boutique style one that showed that was at the Hard Rock for a couple of years. They really got hosed though by the Hard Rock. So that's not completely their fault, but at the same time, is when you're dealing with a bunch of fans who have turned it into a business, and they got hosed. They got taken advantage of, and it's really unfortunate, but lessons learned. And they'll say that they'll sit there and tell you the same thing. So, but it's the guys from Comic-Con Palm Springs. They have kept themselves pretty active. I know that what's his name, Chris?
Chris Spellman.
It's Chris Spellman. Is really kind of kept his kind of finger to the pulse. I know he has partnered up with the Palm Springs International Film Festival, Animation Festival. And I know that a lot of that had to be done digitally this year, virtually rather. So, he's keep it out there. And I've talked with him in passing. If there's going to be a convention, he goes, "You never say never," but the pandemic did take a lot of wind out of their sails. They were going to have one, in 2020. 2019, they had to kind of hit the reset button. The last time these guys had a convention was at the end of 2018 at the Palm Springs Air Museum, and they were going to work with the Air Museum again. They'd kind of said "F you" to the Palm Springs Convention Center. So
that's a whole different topic too.
It's a whole other topic, but I think that Comic-Con Palm Springs, I think, will return probably in 2021. And just have to kind of rebuild its momentum, because it really took a hit in 2018. But I think that in the long scheme of things, people are like, that actually wasn't half bad having it at the Air Museum. So we'll see what happens. But San Diego Comic-Con is going to do something in the fall of this year, a mini convention, smaller than WonderCon. And from what I understand from people I know inside CCI, do expect WonderCon and SDCC to return in 2022 in some form or fashion.
Oh yeah.
with that said, also that I also talked to people that are familiar with um, Golden Voice said that do
Oh,
not
they're
expect do not expect Coachella Fest or Stagecoach to return until 2022. And there's a possibility that Coachella could go to 3 weekends, Stagecoach go to 2 weekends. And the reason behind that
make up
is
money.
to no, is actually to cut down the
Oh,
the
oh,
attendance.
yeah. They're
So
trying.
they were gonna basically
Oh, God,
they're looking down the barrel of having to refund tickets from 2020.
that's true. Yeah.
They've told people to hold on to the tickets. Same thing with San Diego Comic Con. If you had badges for Comic Con in 2020, same thing with WonderCon. God damn chair. Got to get used to this. If you had badges for WonderCon and San Diego Comic Con, you got to either could get a refund or you could carry it over to 2021, or in this case now 2022. So we'll see what happens with things going kind of reopening. I know that there's been a kind of a soft reboot on life as we know it in the end of this month, early April. A lot of things being lifted. I know that in-person dining, inside dining is kind of returned. So
Yeah, it's slowly
we'll
coming
see.
back. Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
I just don't want to know when we're going to be able to have a party at Comic Asylum again.
I don't think so. I don't think that won't be for a while, man. I know that for sure. But yeah, just to kind of not brush through, but like just kind of speed up the
Yep.
DC presentation type of thing, guys. Like, yeah. Also, one thing, Batgirl film is still in development, even though it's been announced back in 2017. They still have no clue. They still haven't put out any more details, other than, of course, Christina Hodson, who is the writer for Birds of Prey, is set to write the screenplay. Other
Just make sure
IPs,
there's a shorter name.
was it? Oh yeah.
Make sure there's a shorter title to the movie than Harley Quinn in the
Fantabulous blah blah blah
oh
blah
yeah
blah
the,
blah
the
blah blah.
Birds of Prey. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, so yeah, other IP, other development, Peacemaker that we all know, Aquaman 2, of course, is going to be GCPD, which is I'm going to be interested in. See, I'm hoping that's probably going to be a more
That's
so
the tie into the Batman.
yeah, Titans Batman.
That's from the producers of the Batman with Robert Pattinson, which by the way has officially wrapped. They're in post production now.
Finally, that's right. Yeah, put that in the notes too.
Did you read that there was guys on set? Sidebar here on the Batman. Of course, that's the Robert Pattinson movie, which is expected to have a new version of the Penguin played by Colin Farrell.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's going to be interesting.
And there were guys, there was an actor, I can't remember who it was. There was an actor who worked with Colin before on a movie.
Yeah.
And was on set with Colin playing what's the Penguin's real name? Something Pepper. Anyways, on set with Colin Farrell playing the Penguin for months, and they just stayed in character. And I guess while they wrapped for lunch, someone came up and said, "Hey, asked the director. He asked the director, and he goes, "Hey, I heard that Colin Farrell was going to be in this movie." And he goes, "He is. You just worked with him for 3 hours." Because no, he didn't. He wasn't on set. I haven't seen him. He's the Penguin. What? Had no idea. Worked with him for days.
Good.
And just had no idea. He was so in tune to the character. Anyone who's seen the pictures of the Penguin knows what I'm talking about. He just does not look like the character. So,
which is definitely a good thing to see, man. Because it feels like now DC, in particular, specifically the last string of movies, man. Of course, with the inevitable Birds of Prey, a lot of them have been taking a lot more serious role in the essence to where they're looking possibly to even try to be like Emmy award-winning type of shows, type of films. Granted, of course, Black Panther won their Emmy. It's just more so the type of seriousness involved within a DC film, all that dark and brooding and things with the Joker and what's the other one? They feel like DC has finally kind of turned its leaf and try to say, all right, cool, we're gonna be serious. We're gonna take a much more appropriate role and appropriate steps to, take things our way and, finally do what the rebirth, branding of comics have been doing, just trying to work on characters. And I'm grateful for that. I'm really happy for that. I'm really really excited for the new Batman. I definitely want to see our old Twinkle boy, uh, Robert Pattinson. He's a great actor. He's a great actor, man. The Twilight is just gonna just follow him throughout his entire career. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, on to the other things too. DC League of Pets, League of Super Pets, which is gonna be an animated film, was also on the IP development list. Green Lantern, still DC Harley Quinn, which I don't know if that's gonna be the animated show or possibly another
I think
movie.
it's the animated show because when when
See?
DC folded, um was it DC Universe,
Yeah. Oh,
the
something.
streaming
Yeah.
platform. Yeah, when
Yeah.
they folded their streaming platform last year, they had slowly started moving stuff over to HBO Max. The first to go was Titans.
Yeah.
Then they moved over Doom Patrol,
Titans 3 is coming back.
and then they moved over. I think they had announced. I think there was 2 seasons of DC's Harley Quinn. It's an animated, it's a rated R cartoon.
Should
Pretty
be.
much primarily starring Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, and it does deal with Harley very subconsciously, I guess you'd say,
Yeah.
um, in love with Poison Ivy
Yeah, it
and
follows. Yeah, it follows very much that
the
of
comic book.
the Harley Quinn comic book that is made by Amanda Connor and Jake no Piamont. I forgot his first name, but they're a couple that have been working with each other for a very long time, and has been specifically well known for Harley Quinn. And yeah, I'm glad they took that case, man. I'm glad they took that adaptation to light. But
Yeah, and the animation's very good. The
yeah,
casting's very good. For those who don't know, let's see if I can find it. But for those who don't know who the cast is, for the right off the bat, is Haley Cuoco is Harley Quinn, and she is phenomenal in the titular role. And I was telling Jr. About this, about this show, was it was, with Big Bang Theory being produced by Warner Brothers. um where'd it go? I just had it here in front of me. There it is. Harley Quinn.
Jimmy
um
Palmiotti was the name I'm thinking about too. Jimmy Palmiotti.
okay, the show was pitched by Haley to Warner Brothers, and they're like, okay, we'll look into this, but you're not doing shit until freaking Big Bang Theory is over. We're not going to do anything to screw the pooch on this one. But as soon as Big Bang Theory was over, she went right into work for Harley Quinn.
Mhm.
And yeah, they are working on season 3, from what I understand. Like I said, Kaylee Cuoco is Harley Quinn. Lake Bell is Poison Ivy.
Yep.
Alan Tudyk plays Kate Clayface.
Go.
Ron Funches, who's a great comedian, is a huge pop culture guy. He's a huge wrestling fan.
Mm.
Plays King Shark, which we know we're going to see in
Yeah.
Suicide Squad in live action.
Interesting.
Tony Hale plays Dr. Psycho. Matt Oberg plays Kite Man. Jason Alexander plays Cy Borgman. Diedrich Bader plays Batman. Christopher Milani, the dude from freaking SVU.
Oh, really?
Christopher Maloney
Yeah.
plays Commissioner Gordon.
Uh,
JB Smoove, you know him. He's the one of the teachers in Spider-Man, plays
yeah.
Frank the Plant, and Jim Rash is the Riddler.
Who played I think it was in that episode too. Who played Nightwing?
Let me see.
Unless it was a different one. I'm probably thinking of the Batman Nightwing movie where Harley Quinn was in it too. I might have been that one. There's
It's a
animated.
possibility because she has appeared in. Oh, it was because isn't that the one, the cartoon where
Or Nightwing gets
Harley
yeah.
falls in love with Batman?
I don't know if it was that one, but I do know that it was um what's the word I'm looking for? It was hinted that Harley Quinn took advantage of a strapped to a bed Nightwing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That it's not this this show, but I think that was, which by the way, DC does a great job in their animated movie department. I know a lot of people didn't care too much for the laughing, was it the Killing Joke? It was okay. I'm not a fan of the comic. I thought the Killing Joke was highly overrated. I get the great importance of it because it humanized the Joker. It gave you a little backstory on who he was, and really, if it wasn't for the Killing Joke, we probably wouldn't have got the version of Batman 89 that we got. For those of you who don't know, the backstory of the Joker in Jack Nicholson's Joker from Batman 89 is based on Killing Joke. You know, he goes to loosely based. Tim Burton has said that he's come out and he loosely based it on the Killing Joke, his backstory of who the Joker was, because for the most part in the comic books, there is no identity to the Joker.
It's until 3 Jokers happened. So
that's right.
Yeah, they tried to make note of it. The 3 Jokers storyline that just wrapped up, I think, late last year. But yeah, dude, for a very long time they have finally canonized that the Killing Joker is in the canon now. That is, he's in the mainline story. So
that version of the Joker, so the main Joker, the great antagonist of Batman, his backstory is the Killing Joke. It's canon, stuff like that.
Yeah, the whole thing where like where he thought he killed his wife and kid, and like how he lost them. Oh, they're there in 3 Jokers. Sorry guys, spoilers if you haven't watched.
Spoiler alert!
I mean, if you guys are big, are big, fans of the Joker and Batman, you guys, I'm hoping that you guys already read that. But yeah, I do recommend reading Killing Joke. To me, by far, is probably the best Batman story that came out in the last couple of years, man. So that's definitely in there. And just further on, so we get to our main topic. The Boys first spin-off series is finally being headed by it's being headed by is by Lizzie Broadway. She is on the Rookie, Lost Boys, Chicago PD. It is untitled as of right now, but it's said to be college themed, so it's tending to possibly be aimed to a younger adult audience, even though The Boys.
I still need to watch it. I still have not watched The Boys yet.
I started hearing an episode here or there. It's one of those ones where I need to be in the mood to watch it type of thing. Right. I know that's a lot of us today. Like my cousin, right? I told him about the Mandalorian, and how freaking amazing that is. And he told me like, yeah, man, I just couldn't get into the first episode. I'm like, really? He's like,
the first episode just grabs you by the balls, and let's go, buddy.
Yeah, it's just one of those things like, but yeah, he's like, well, I got to get into it to watch it. I'm like, I get it. And so, but yeah, The Boys, I still haven't watched. I still haven't watched the movies I was supposed to watch. I'm gonna inevitably watch that. Just a small little tidbit. Supposedly, there was some people trying to cancel Amazon in the last couple weeks or so. So people were like, "Don't watch Amazon stuff. Don't order anything from Amazon." And the first thing I did when I saw that, man, was order my armor. Was order my monitor stand.
Cancel culture can go suck a big one.
We can talk about that by friends on vacations, but yes, cancel it.
Stop.
It doesn't, like, when you're trying to cancel a company, it's one thing. It's a lot more harder to do so than that. But canceling people because they're fucking complete dicks and pedophiles, cool. Canceling companies, you have to look at unions and all that other stuff. But that's neither here and there. Going on to our main topic today, because we're trying to bust out our tinfoil hats, my friend.
Yep.
What is gonna happen now after the events of WandaVision to the MCU?
Right here. Multiverse, bro. 616 universe. Yep. Well, let's break it down, Mr. Cabacungan. Where are we to freaking day? We begin in 2008. No, I'm just kidding. We are 23 movies in from Iron Man 1 to Avengers Endgame, from 2008 to 2019. We have seen the great 3 phases of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It is phenomenal. Kevin Feige, we're not worthy. I'll throw a little love Jeff Loeb's way. Did a great job in orchestrating his own universe with the Marvel television side.
Yeah.
So we've got Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Captain Marvel, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther, you name it, Incredible Hulk. We got
All
it.
the Wars of Infinity.
Yes, we've got everything. So that's where we're at. Now let's take a look at 2020. Okay.
Yes.
So we got to talk about, before we can get into putting our tinfoil hats on and acting like freaking this lunatic over here, we have to know where we're at, where we're going. We know where we came from. Where are we going? Phase 4 officially kicked off some almost 8 weeks ago with WandaVision, starting things off in the Disney Plus era. This is the first time that we've seen, other than Spider-Man, that we have seen a major Avengers character post Endgame. Now, it should be noted, where does this take place in the greater timeline of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Where does WandaVision take place in the greater scope of things in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And that is, it takes place between the events of Endgame, the finality of Endgame, and Spider-Man Far From Home. So Spider-Man Far From Home begins with us recapping the blip. And we jokingly, we talked about, JR said, Spider-Man jokingly talks about the band reappearing in the middle of the basketball game, and so on and so forth. But when Peter Parker goes on his vacation overseas, it is a summer vacation. It is a summer abroad. So it's in the summertime. The events of Endgame is assumed to have taken place sometime in the spring of, I believe, 2023 is the official time frame. So WandaVision takes place between those two movies, Endgame and Spider-Man. That's where it takes place. So with that said, let's take a look at what we've got coming up. So let's give you the full thing rundown of what we know is coming down the pipeline on the movie side. Okay. Right now, Black Widow is tentatively scheduled for May 7th of this year. In July, we'll get Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I'm extremely excited about that one because this is another of Guardians of the Galaxy level Hail Mary for Marvel, going with a Chinese lead, with an all Chinese cast, with a Chinese director. I know technically the guy who's playing Shang-Chi is technically Canadian, but he's of Chinese descent. Yeah, screw you guys. But that's not the wild card side about it, because we know Disney and China, when they mix together, it's billionaires. But this is not a mainstay character. This is not the Incredible Hulk. This is not, hell, this ain't even freaking Wanda Maximoff. This is out of left field character. So we get that.
This is very much Iron Man year one, like back in 2009. Who the hell is Iron Man? Oh, he was a character from somewhere from Marvel.
See, I even knew who Iron Man was. I didn't know necessarily. I mean, if someone asked me who's Iron Man's alter ego, it'd take me a second to realize it was Tony Stark. Yeah. But I could tell you a few things about Tony Stark. I knew that he was billionaire philanthropist, playboy. He had a drinking problem. He was Iron Man. I knew that he was taken captive in Vietnam, and he built this suit in a cave, and yada yada yada. And it was always guessed. It was always said that. That in the comic books, much like they hinted at in Iron Man 1, that the Iron Man suit was Tony Stark's bodyguard, and that was to keep up his alter ego. And of course, in the movies universe, he just owned it and said, fuck it, I'm Iron Man. Another Hail Mary. This is like straight up freaking, what's his name that plays for the Kansas City Chiefs? The quarterback.
Oh my God. Keep putting just off
him.
Guard now.
This is him being bum rushed. No offensive line, throwing off his back foot behind him, around his hip. Hail Mary, the Eternals. I have no Patrick Mahomes. This is a Patrick Mahomes level. You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers up my ass. Hail Mary, the Eternals. I know squat about the Eternals. I do know that Marvel's pushing it hard with all these comic books they keep putting out, but I know a little bit more about Shang-Chi than I know about the Eternals. But Eternals is set to hit theaters this November. And just because we can't cram enough into 2021, because 2020 sucked a big one, we're getting Spider-Man No Way Home in December. So we're getting, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies in calendar year 2021. But wait, there's more. 2022 we'll kick off in March. So we're just a little over a year away, I'm sorry, from Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Then 2 months later, we get Taika Waititi's follow-up to Thor Ragnarok. He gets Thor Love and Thunder, which, by the way, did you see pictures of Natalie Portman as Jane Foster?
I did.
Girls walking around like this. She's yoked for a girl. She's yoked.
I saw the one where she was harnessed, like she was.
Yes, they show her on set, and she's walking like a girl that just got done doing arm day, where anybody, even me, but then again, I'm built like a girl sometimes. Is when you do arm day and you're a little swole and you have to kind of walk with your arms at your side because muscles are a little tight. That's what she was walking around, and apparently she's been hitting it hard. Because when Jane Foster because this is the character they're going to have. Spoiler alert for those of you who have not read Jason Aaron's books, is Jane Foster.
You're going to be Thor.
Jane Foster's going to be Thor. Jane Foster is Thor.
Yeah.
But the character has incurable breast cancer. And she becomes the mighty Thor because she is deemed to be worthy, which she is. She's such a pure heart character in the comic books. She's also a bitch too. Which I know, can you be both? But she can. She is pure of heart. So Mjolnir comes to her. She picks up Mjolnir on the moon. Yada yada yada. And she becomes the mighty Thor. Yeah. Well, you see her transform from this sickly weakling cancer survivor to this jacked Asgardian goddess. I mean, she is the goddess of thunder, and she is in the comic books. I mean, granted, it's easy to do in comic books to do a transformation like this, but Taika wants to. He's talked with Jason Aaron. He's talked with some of the artists who wrote for Thor and Thor Volume. I think it was Thor Volume 4 or 5, and the Mighty Thor.
Yeah,
was how do we present her? And she's got to be jacked. So looks like they're filming all of her as the mighty Thor right now, and that supposedly Taika is going to address the cancer storyline. They are going to do that storyline. So she's going to need to go the opposite. She's going to have to go full like Christian Bale and the fighter and lose like a bazillion pounds. I mean, she's a small girl as it is, so that's going to be rough. Yeah. But no, Thor Love and Thunder, dude, I can't wait because Daddy's gonna make some money. I got all of those books.
Technically her first appearance was, I think, it wasn't Sin something. It wasn't
Original Sin number 8 is at the very last page is when Nick Fury whispers into Thor's ear, which makes him become unworthy. They have never said what Nick Fury told. And of course, Original Sin was a storyline where someone murders
the Watcher.
Yeah. And everyone's on the moon, and Nick Fury walks over to Thor and whispers into his ear, and immediately Thor drops Mjolnir and becomes unworthy, which, by the way, that led into a great storyline called The Unworthy Thor. It's a 4-part miniseries, which was fantastic. But that came years later. And then the next page, you see a shadowy figure pick up the hammer with ease, and it's a female Thor. It's the goddess of thunder. And I remember people lost their effing mind, like, oh my god, freaking!
They're so mad.
What is it they call it? Gender appropriation. I don't know whatever they wanted to call it, but it was because at the time you had female Thor, and then you had Captain America was Captain Marvel. Carol Danvers had been around for a while, but
she was, but like people never really, sadly enough, they never put her to be Captain Marvel.
No, true, but yeah, that's right. She was Miss Marvel. That's right. The two big things that I think people got so pissed off about was Jane Foster, was the female Thor, and the black Captain America. Which, looking back, I don't have that problem with either one.
I thought they got more pissed off with Black Miles, with a Black Spider-Man.
They did, but I think that because they
616.
I think they kind of because they did that. Brian Michael Bendis ended up saying like, no, this is the ultimate universe and yada yada yada. And Miles ended up being a huge fan favorite. He's a huge character.
Yeah.
But anyways, okay. So real quick, run this down. So we have Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternal, Spider-Man, No Way Home, Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness, Thor: Love and Thunder. Black Panther 2 is scheduled for July 8th, 2022. One of the most talked about, one of the most anticipated sequels probably in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because we know for a fact right off the bat, we know it's going to happen. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We sat there and we rumored, we combed over every little detail. We prophesized about what was going to happen in Infinity War, who was going to get snapped out of existence. We knew it was inevitable that Thanos was going to get all of the Infinity Stones, and he was going to snap half of the world's existence, snap half of life's out of existence. But we know this, that T'Challa is not coming back. T'Challa was snapped out of existence, but he did ultimately come back, win in Avengers Endgame. But of course, the actor Chadwick Boseman lost in reality when he died of cancer this past year. Which, by the way, I didn't realize that the announcement on his official Twitter account. I was reading about this the other day. His announcement, that his publicist or whatever, on his official Twitter account announcing his passing, was the most retweeted tweet in 2020. That shows you just how much that actor meant to that character. And I know that he won a posthumous Golden Globe for one of his last roles. So we know Black Panther 2, Ryan Coogler, when he hits this thing to the silver screen, his follow-up to one of his highest grossing movies of all time. The ultimate, like, wow, did not see that coming movie. It's going to be without the titular character. It's going to be without T'Challa, and that we know that for a fact. Following up in 2022, we will get 4 movies yet again. Actually, I take that back. We're scheduled, it looks like, according to Wikipedia, we're going to get 5 movies in 2022. Captain Marvel 2 will get released in November 11th of 2022, and Peyton Reed's third effort at the smallest Avenger, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, is scheduled for 2022, but I would imagine it's probably going to end up being in early 2023. Then we also know that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is set to be released in 2023, and John Watts, the guy who is directing Spider-Man No Way Home, is set to come back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe to direct and possibly write the first family. The Fantastic Four will hit theaters sometime in 23 or 24. We also should be noted that on this list that I'm reading, that hasn't been said, but has not been given an official tentpole, is Blade. We do know that Blade is officially in pre-production. They are going to make the damn movie. So we have to assume, JR, put your tinfoil hat on. Blade is in this list. So real quick, I'll run down 2. We got WandaVision, 9 episodes. We got Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We have Loki. We have Loki coming out in June. We expect season 1 of What If to come out sometime in the summer. They're going to split it up. There's going to be 10 episodes for season 1, 10 episodes for season 2. We don't know when season 2 is going to happen. Miss Marvel in production, expected for this year. Hawkeye in production right now, expected this year. Moon Knight expected next year. She-Hulk expected next year. The Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special expected for Christmas, I believe 2023. No, maybe we get it next year. No, I'm sorry, it's 2022. Christmas 2022. So sorry. So we get Moon Knight and She-Hulk next year. Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, Christmas of 2022. Then we get Secret Invasion, Ironheart, Armor Wars, and of course the Ryan Coogler Wakanda series that is also coming to Disney Plus. We are not going to. We have to. I know we talked about that Jon Bernthal possibly is going to come back as the Punisher and Punisher War Journal, but that has not officially been announced. We're not going to do any kind of, for the lack of better words, we're not going to do any of these what ifs yet. We'll just stick to what we know. So that's what we know over the course of the next 4 years or so. And we do know that Kevin Feige has said that they have the next 20 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe planned out of what they want to do. So with that said, we have that. WandaVision is in our rearview mirror. It has finally ended. It finishes with 3 big kind of bullet points, JR.
Yeah.
Number 1, White Vision. He's back. He has had his memory reinstated from the Westview vision. So the White Vision has full consciousness of what Vision went through since creation. And of course, he was created actually as far back as he knows that he was Tony Stark's AI.
Yeah.
So he goes back to that. So White Vision has the consciousness of knowing that he was the AI for Tony Stark all the way up to his inevitable death in Infinity War. And it seems like he has memories of what took place in the Hex during WandaVision. So we know that WandaVision, or that Vision, White Vision, is out there.
Yeah.
Okay. The last we saw of our other characters, we know that Darcy Lewis took off because she doesn't do debriefs. We know that Jimmy Woo, could he be joining SWORD? Could he be joining maybe S.H.I.E.L.D.? Could he be joining another group? Could he be creating the Agents of Atlas? Or is he just going to go back to Quantico and become a member of, or just remain a member of the FBI? So we know that Jimmy Woo still alive. And as far as we know, he's still an FBI agent.
Yeah.
Monica Rambeau, she could be headed to outer space and meeting up with maybe Nick Fury. And then, of course, Wanda Maximoff, we saw at the end where she was astro projecting herself as almost like a sorcerer supreme, reading the Darkhold, manipulating possibly manipulating the multiverse in order to find her kids and break. That is where we end. We also know that Agatha Harkness, the last surviving member of the Salem witch trials, is back to being Agnes in Westview. She is just going to be some nosy neighbor from next door. So that's where we're at, bro. So what tinfoil hats on, do you think, where do you think that the events of WandaVision will connect to Falcon the Winter Soldier, if at all? Do you think they're going to kind of stand as their own separate entities and then lead to a bigger, greater thing?
Yeah, well, actually, I feel like Falcon Winter Soldier will be its own like controlled thing. I don't think, if it has some ramifications throughout the whole storyline, we'll probably see in some more fashion. But it feels like they're trying to go for the more so inline, fast paced, action oriented, the Russo brother type feel, where even though it's a buddy cop drama per se, right?
Oh yeah, very much so.
It's still gonna be very much that. Okay, it's the things we expect specifically with with Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I don't know if they'll have any ramifications. That is yet to be seen at this point. But I feel like I feel like they'll have, if they do somehow relate back to the larger MCU picture. I don't think it's going to be specifically with WandaVision. I feel like it's going to be more so in the terms of like maybe something to do with some of the villains of some of the mainstay villains of the MCU. We're gonna probably see what's gonna be going on with Dr. Nemo, not Dr. Nemo. It's Nemo, as well as I feel like they're gonna be
Namor?
more so. No, not Namor. The main villain that came back from the main one from Civil War.
Baron Zemo.
Zemo. I thought Nemo.
I thought you said Nemo. Baron Zemo. Come on, bro.
Zemo.
Nemo's the fish.
Yeah.
It's been a long day.
It's been a long day. But yeah, Baron Zemo. I feel like they're more so gonna, if there's any type of like tinfoil hat moment for me, I feel like they're gonna probably try to remake Shield if I'm quite honest at that point, because knowing both Bucky and and Falcon's type of like foundation, how they operate, they need some type of like Avenger-esque uh platform per se. It's probably because it is probably also that they're already in an organization that has that, but I feel like, you need a definite headquarters. We need a definite Shield S type of facility. I feel like if anything, they're gonna go back to ground level and try and remake Shield. I feel how WandaVision though might mess that up is because, well, WandaVision for me, the levels of which WandaVision is going to try to take the MCU world is vastly different from how I think the Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier escapade is going to go, because I think their escapade is going to be more so on a continental level, while Wanda is on a multiversal level, right? I think that's the just if something happens, if let's say, Wanda, flips the page and a crack of reality happens, right, in Darkhold, and it just affects somehow them. I think that might happen. I think that's more likely than her
Yeah.
actually, you know, making herself known to them. If from the events of WandaVision, because of just how solely focused now she is on possibly probably just trying to get her kids back. I think that's the biggest thing.
I think
Yeah.
that's the main
Yeah.
point for for Wanda is to get her kids back, and she's going to inevitably tear a hole
In the fabric of
in the
reality.
fabric. And I think that's what's going to happen. And Jared, you and I talked about this. I think the direction that they're going to go is they're going to kind of use the same formula that has been used for all of phase one, for the most part of phase two and phase three, of developing a character within the greater cinematic universe,
Mhm.
leading to a bigger team up. And I think that they're going to do that on two planes. This is where it's going to get very, very creative, so to speak, for Marvel. Is I think that it's obvious that Wanda Maximoff is, if not going to be the main villain, she's going to be one of the antagonists in Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, based on how we last saw her in WandaVision in that post-season, or I'm sorry, the post-credit scene where
Yeah.
she is using the Darkhold to summon
Really?
chaos magic to pretty much open up the multiverse.
So you feel just kind of go back on that. You feel like she's gonna be possibly a villain per se because of
I
like
think that she is going to be at least some form of antagonist. She is not going to be working with Doctor Strange. I think that Doctor Strange is going to have to wrangle her in, and knowing that she is an Avenger and knowing that she deep down is good at heart, that it's going to be a great story for
yeah.
him to, like, I have to destroy this, because you said that in both his appearance in his own movie Doctor Strange, and in, of course, Thor in Thor Ragnarok,
Yeah.
he talks about anything that is a cosmic threat to Earth. He knows about it, and obviously in Thor Ragnarok, he acknowledges that Loki being on Earth is like danger, danger, Will Robinson.
Mm.
So if you have someone, and we heard Agatha Harkness say this in the final episode of WandaVision, that the power of chaos magic is something that even the Sorcerer Supreme can't handle. That basically her opening the Darkhold and learning this chaos magic would make her stronger than Doctor Strange, who is right now the reigning and defending Sorcerer Supreme on Earth. So
Mm.
and so I think that he's gonna, like, not that he's gonna take it personally, but he's gonna be like, okay, we got ourselves a freaking big huge ass problem. You have an Avenger who is learning chaos magic, who potentially could be a bigger threat, um, a me level threat, meaning Doctor Strange level threat.
Mm.
So I think it's not that he looks at her as a villain, but more as an antagonist, and is going to be, but at the same time, deal with what is she unraveling? What is she bringing? Does that magic unlock Dormammu? Does it bring, remember, Baron, oh my gosh, the
Zemo?
not Zemo, the other guy.
Oh yeah, him, Mads Mikkelsen's character.
No. His buddy, the guy that trains him.
Oh
And
yeah.
dadgummit.
Yeah, well, because when you look for him, I was gonna say, I do feel that she's gonna be a foil, very much so to Strange. But just going back into the meta that Marvel is doing right now, where they have two characters, where they have two actors, they play off one another in a majority of their current lineup now. I do feel that she's gonna. I feel like they're gonna put her in the role of like not some more so
Mordo.
an apprentice.
Baron Mordo.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, not more so an apprentice type of role for both Wanda and Doctor Strange. But I feel like there is gonna be some level of kinship where kind of looking at it, we kind of see Wanda somewhat in the same role of a young Doctor Strange. Well, a Doctor Strange that's going to, just slowly, go into magic. Okay, now we know a name for your powers. We know what can fuel your powers. We know what latent ability your powers can possibly hold. Because I do feel that if Wanda, and granted, so if Wanda is somehow the antagonist or even more so the villain of the Doctor Strange multiverse of madness, I don't know if they're either. For me, I think two things are going to happen if they make her the villain of that, the main villain of that one. One, they're going to amp her up to a point where no one would be able to stand a chance against her. That's how I feel. Or two, like if she is the villain, right? If they put her as the villain, she's gonna be the villain for a very, very long time because of how. Yeah, if she gets a hold, because I'm looking just more so in the terms of like old school, not old school, but more so going back to in terms of comics, right? Because
Yeah.
I I base power levels off of that. I base power structures and all that. And yeah, the Wanda we get now is kind of tapping into the comic book Wanda, where she is almost as close as saying no more mutants, and boom, every mutant is gone from the face of existence, and she literally creates her own reality. We're near that now, and if she gets hold of Darkhold, if she gets a hold, if she reads all of that in the Darkhold book, we might see that again. And I feel if it doesn't go the route of like, okay, Doctor Strange will come along and guide her, right? Because with Marvel, they've been playing very much the roles of like of mentors
Yeah.
in all sense, right? So I'm thinking that maybe there's a big possibility that our Sorcerer Supreme will be like somewhat like his Sorcerer Supreme in Hilda, and I forget her name, something Hilda, the old Sorcerer Supreme, the Gaelic,
The ancient
yeah,
one, Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton, right? I'm thinking that maybe he will be in that role for her, where in essence, technically, okay, you have magic. What does that mean? And I do feel that Baron, what's his name?
Baron Mordo.
Baron
No.
Mordo.
And I know that that's the character that
Yeah,
the comic book has.
yeah.
And I know that some people were like, "Oh, well, they're bringing in Baron Zemo. Is he gonna,
Mhm.
is this gonna be like a team up deal? I don't know." So
No. But I do feel that if Mordo might make known possibly his master, that's gonna come about, because if those who know, those who know. But I do feel the big bad inevitably, yes, might be that of the devil. Specifically, if we're going into multiverse terms, specifically with multiverse of madness and how the craziness that might endure. But I do feel, because if you have if what we originally planned was that Mephisto was going to be the big bad, right?
yeah,
Initially, we're gonna have we got just from a power leveling scale of like what we need on our side, we're gonna need Wanda. We're gonna need Wanda, and we're gonna need Doctor Strange, and we're also probably gonna need a couple of Celestials. We're definitely gonna need Reed Richards. We're gonna definitely need as much as we possibly can to even to even have Mephisto be serious going against us, going against the MCU,
yeah,
because of just how wide and vast his powers are. Even let's keep it in Dormammu's essence, right? We're gonna need both of them. So it will be, from a thematic sense, it'll be or even just like a drama sense, it'd be great if Wanda would become the big bad. That'd be awesome thematically. That'd be awesome just to see how that would play out. But in the bigger scheme of things, I don't know if that's gonna happen. Honestly, I feel like they're gonna need her on her side, just logically, in the sense of like, yo, we're gonna be facing against multiversal threats where they can literally snap their fingers and their mainline Earth is gone. And we're gonna need the likes of both Wanda and Strange to combat that. Because to me, man, there's no other reality warping individuals in that league. Like if Franklin Richards was there, okay, maybe, son of Reed Richards and Sue, right? He's a reality bending freaking mutant wizard at the age of 13. Cool. That's a deep dive for those who don't know, but if you don't know, you know. But yeah, that's just how I feel. Like I feel like they're prepping Wanda to become the likes of, on the same level playing field of Doctor Strange, just to freaking fight off against some of the crazy freaking villains that easily trounce Thanos. This version of Thanos, the MCU version of Thanos. But yeah, that's just me.
Now looking at the schedule, looking at what Marvel has in store for us in the direction that they're going, to me, it's at a cosmic level and it's at a multiverse level of threat, which makes me think that the Avenger level movie that we're headed towards is Secret Wars. I think it is inevitable, and it's been teased so many times by the Russos, saying that the one thing that they would come back for is Secret Wars. And when we say Secret Wars, we're talking about not like the Contest of Champions that was in the original Secret Wars. We get to see the black suit Superman or black suit Batman or Batman, black suit Spider-Man. We're talking about like Secret Wars, multiple universes colliding onto one another, opening up the timelines that allowed Miles Morales to exist. What's that?
God Doom becoming the king of the combined Earths. That's the crazy one. Yeah.
So I think that that's where we're headed. I think we're headed towards Secret Wars. And I think that you have two different convergent points headed towards that battle. And that is, you have from the movie side, them dealing with the multiverse, dealing with, getting all their ducks in a row with Shang-Chi and, in Legend of the Ten Rings, and seeing kind of that backstory, seeing where the Ten Rings came from, and finally seeing the real Mandarin that's been teased at ever since All Hail the King, which is the one shot after Iron Man 3. And I just think that everything here, you look at the Eternals, obviously is going to probably deal with a little bit of the multiverse. I think that you're going to see No Way Home in the multiverse, and No Way Home and Doctor Strange 2 both definitely dealing with the multiverse. Thor Love and Thunder with Taika Waititi on board, you have no freaking idea what he could be working towards, but he could be doing that. Black Panther 2, they've got a lot of fish to fry in that movie. They've obviously have to get their titular character under control. Are they going to go with the White Panther, which there's talk about doing? There's talk about putting the mantle of the Black Panther on Shuri, on M'Baku. It could be Eric Killmonger coming back and him taking up the mantle. Then you look at Captain Marvel 2. That's definitely going to be dealing with the cosmic level and possibly the multiverse. Ant-Man and the Wasp and Quantumania, I think that definitely is going to be doing with multiverse level stuff, or at least time travel and multiple universes and multiple time and space, because we do know that Kang the Conqueror is going to be the main villain in that movie. And then you look at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. God knows what James Gunn has up his sleeve, because he's still not giving up on the fact that he want to do Adam Warlock. he is going to be probably dealing with the fallout of Thor: Love and Thunder because his guys are in the movie. It's already been shown that what's his brother's name? James Gunn's brothers, Ryan Gunn. Was it Kraglin? I think is his character. Kraglin. Oh God dang it. Kraglin, Groot, Rocket, Star-Lord, and Nebula have all been seen on set in Thor: Love and Thunder. Yeah. So the people that we left with at the end of Avengers Endgame are going to be in Thor: Love and Thunder. And it is expected, apparently, James Gunn, they asked him, they said, is Chris Hemsworth going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3? And he says, I will be keeping a close watch on what Taika does. Yeah. And it has been given that Chris Hemsworth has said, they're going to pay me how much to play this damn role? I'm all game, bro. I'm here for the long haul. He wants that Robert Downey Jr. money.
That's true. Also, actually, to kind of tie back into James Gunn and like, did you see the last couple of days where there was a rumor being put out that they were looking for a what's his name? He was in Baywatch that played opposite The Rock. What's the name?
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah, but I forgot his name though.
They want him style character.
Yeah, they want him style character, and then James Gunn literally that like the next hour, like, what the heck? We were not looking for any castings for that. The comedian side of me, like, that's funny as hell. That I love that James Watch is able to like just roast people. Like, dude, if we tell you, we tell you. But at the same time, like the family, I'm thinking like, you know what? That might be a good pick. Granted, he's short as hell because Adam Warlock's supposed to be like, I think like 6'4", 6'3". But yeah, forgot his name. It's his name is got like the second I see it, I'm gonna be pissed off because I know his name. Zac Efron. Because Zac Efron, man,
Efron style character, yeah.
He has the body, he has the look. He all you gotta do is just paint him gold. He looks like what Adam Warlock should look like, you'd think. Other than, of course, Adam Warlock was made, of course, in like the early 80s. And
he's supposed to be the perfect male.
Yeah.
He is the he's male person, the golden god, basically. Yeah. I know there was talk that this was possibly a role that Keanu Reeves could play, but maybe is too old to play that particular role. So they need a very svelte, statuesque young man to play the role.
He's gonna have a couple of scenes. He's gonna have a bunch of scenes with his shirt off. Basically, that's like, that was it. Like, granted, like if Zac Efron was a little bit taller, I think they would have gave him a call a long time ago.
Be a baller.
Huh? A little bit taller. Yeah. But yeah, if he was a little bit taller, they would have gave him the role a long freaking time ago. But yeah, that was just a funny thing to just see on the Twitter a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I did see that. That was pretty funny. So, like I said, I think that we're on a collision course. I think that the TV side is very much headed towards Secret Invasion.
Yeah,
and that opens up the kind of the tinfoil hat can of worms. Is obviously if it's Secret Invasion, it means that there have been Skrulls here all along. Mm-hmm. So, with that said, I would say let's go with 3 characters other than what we already know. We know that Maria Hill, after Endgame, from Endgame on, mm-hmm. Maria Hill and Nick Fury have been Skrulls.
Yeah.
Now we don't know for a fact that Maria Hill hasn't been a Skrull the whole time.
Okay.
But we do know that Nick Fury, does really exist. We do know that Nick Fury is very much alive, mm-hmm. again. And he is on this space station, this sword space station up in space. And that Talos has been portraying Nick Fury after Endgame on Earth. So as far as we know, the Nick Fury that was present at the funeral for Tony Stark was Talos was the scroll. That's supposedly the canon. So, JR, I would say, give me 3 characters for Head Towards Secret Invasion, which is a few years away. 3 characters from Marvel canon. They don't have to be mainstays, but an identifiable character that could come back and go like, "Holy shit, it was a scroll." And this has to be Earth based. It can't be like Sith or something like that. It's got to be
Earth-based type of scroll, yeah, because they currently originate from there. Other than Nick and Maria, I wouldn't mind seeing, even though he's been said he'll never play that role anymore. The guy who played, I guess, the main antagonist, not main antagonist, but like one of the antagonists for Captain America in Civil War 2. The guy who blew up in Civil War, no, in Captain America 2.
The guy who was Crossbones.
Crossbones, yeah.
Yeah, he said he'd never come back to play the game.
Yeah, he never come back. That would be interesting to see him back in the thing, though. It'd be a scroll, but then I don't think that's gonna happen.
He's gonna happen too, because him being injured in Civil War, I think that would have given up his but then again, never say never.
Just for shits and giggles, I would love to see either Rhodey or or Winter Soldier was actually a scroll this whole time. because one, I think it's more so probably Rhodey, because it's either not Rhodey, but freaking Winter Soldier, because it's probably more easier to replicate canon wise. If it was a scroll, scrolls are one, they have superhuman strength. They have, I guess, to a certain extent, pretty decent speed, and of course they can morph their shape, wherever they feel like. And so I feel like it would probably be easier for them to replicate Winter Soldier than it would be Rhodey. I think that would be an interesting one. Probably it's not gonna happen, because one, Scarlet's not gonna fucking probably play, but then I would love to see Black Widow one for doing it, because that happened in Secret Invasion. And let me see a third one. Let's go small role. I would like to see the Professor. I forgot his name, but the one that Skarsgård.
Oh, you mother trucker! I took mine. I was just thinking Eric Selvig.
Yeah.
You took mine, you bastard.
Right. See, what happened when you put me in the spot, my guy? Because Selvig, I think,
good pull.
Would definitely be a good. Yeah, he would be a good type of thing, because all right, cool. We know him. He's in there, right? He's in the canon. If it was out of world, though, I'll probably say one of the Heroes 3. That would be an interesting pull. But I don't think
the thing with the scrolls, though, is it's all about them hiding on Earth. So that's why I say just keep it Earth-based heroes.
Yeah.
So top 3 for me.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Eric Selvig.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna play a little game here. I'm not gonna pick Eric Selvig. I gotta pick another one. Here's a wild card.
Okay.
Darcy Lewis. Dr. Darcy Lewis is a scroll the whole time.
Yeah, I was.
Just because, bro. Just because. Yeah. I'm gonna go with Mrs. Barton.
Ooh, okay.
Clint Barton's wife, played by I just forgot her name. She was from Grandma's Girl.
Yeah.
She was part of that original crew from
she was in Scooby-Doo.
Oh, that's right. She was in Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo.
I can't think of her name, but she's a great actress.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna say Clint's wife is a scroll. Dr. Darcy Lewis is a scroll. Mm-hmm. I was gonna say Eric Selvig, but damn it, you took it. Now I got to think of another one that's got to be pivotal.
How this? I'll give you back Eric Selvig, and you give me back this one.
What's up?
Coulson.
See, I was thinking Coulson because Coulson technically already has been a scroll. He was a scroll in Captain Marvel. Yeah. But here's my problem: is if you stay in canon,
yeah,
how did Coulson survived the events of
Shield.
the Battle of New York.
Sure.
And he goes on to Agents of Shield. He is injected with Kree blood, so he becomes an Inhuman, so to speak. Well, no, take that back. No, he doesn't. No, he never goes through Terrigenesis, because that's how he loses his arm. He never fully goes through Terrigenesis, but he is injected with Kree blood. So that'd be tough for him to have been a Skrull the whole time. There's too many, but that would be a kind of a deep cut. But he has been a Skrull at one point. He was his character was mimicked in Captain Marvel 2. I don't know, because I'm trying to think of like, okay, good guy, like good Skrull, bad Skrull, like, because for the most part in Secret Invasion, that was the thing. The Skrulls were the bad guys, and in this incarnation, the Kree were kind of have been labeled the bad guys. And so it's kind of like I'm wondering like who knows. I would say the Hulk, but Bruce Banner's already like
he can't be the Hulk. Well, actually,
he couldn't be a Kree. I got one. Just throw it out there. M'Baku. They infiltrated. No, you know what? Scratch M'Baku. Black Panther's homeboy. Huh? No, the guy that was married to the I don't think he died.
No, he didn't die, but like at the same time, like I don't think he'd still be there, because if he openly wanted treachery, you know. But yeah,
I don't know.
It's I forgot her name. Her husband.
I'm gonna look it up right now. But yeah, I think and again, guys, comments below. Let us know who you think your top 3 major characters, Earth-based characters, are secretly Skrulls, and they could be a good Skrull, they could be a bad Skrull. I think that Dr. Darcy Lewis is a Skrull, but she's a good Skrull. That they just kind of like, pushed her aside. She's still working on her movie. Wakabi, played by Daniel Kaluuya.
He is. If it's the same one you're talking about, I'm pretty sure he was in another Coogler film. I think he's in Get Out.
Yeah, I got one.
So
Everett Ross.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Everett Ross. There you go. No, that's it. I'm going Dr. Darcy Lewis, Everett Ross, and I can't remember who the one I said. Damn it, I forgot already. Anyways,
a second. I just totally messed it up. Not Coogler didn't do Get Out. It's Jordan Peele. I apologize, but the guy, if I'm remember correctly, is Daniel Kaluuya. Yeah, he was in Get Out.
I like him too. I like him.
People have been memeing the hell out of him because of the movie roles he's been in. Like, dude, how you go from Get Out to backstabbing your homeboy?
Right?
Yeah, but like,
what sucks is if Okoye was a Skrull the whole time.
Oh, dude, I was gonna say Okoye would have been cool, or even was it Okoye the Lupita Nyong'o's character?
No, that's Nakia.
I was gonna say if Nakia was there too, because
I absolutely fell in love with Lupita Nyong'o as Nakia, because she's such a good actress.
Yeah, she's great, dude.
I love her work, and I just think she's gorgeous, and I absolutely fell in love with her. There was a scene where she's sitting on a cliff with T'Challa, and the sun just kind of hits her, and I'm just like, damn it. She is a gorgeous, talented actress. And yeah, I've got Woman Crush Wednesday on Lupita Nyong'o from Black Panther 1. So there you go, guys. Let us know in the comments below who you think are your top 3 secret invaders, who you think are secretly Skrulls, and who is going to rear their ugly head come Secret Invasion here in a couple of years. But I think there's so many different storylines too, JR, going on with this. Because I think, like I said, I think they're inevitably leading towards, because that's the one thing they have not announced. When they announced Phase 1, and they announced that they were doing Captain America, or they announced that they were doing the Incredible Hulk, Iron Man, a Thor movie, and Captain America, Kevin Feige made the comment. He goes, "It's no secret that those 4 characters combined make up the Avengers, and maybe someday we'll see an Avengers movie." Of course, 4 years later, we get
Avengers.
Marvel's The Avengers, and the rest is history. This is the first time that they have not really laid the groundwork, and I get it. Why not?
Mm.
They really have not showed their hand what the greater end game, no pun intended, is for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Are they headed towards another team up movie? Is there going to be an Avengers 5? What's the big Avengers level movie? Are they going to do another thing like Civil War? Are they going to do, what are they going to do? Are we finally going to get that Serpent Society movie?
No, God, no.
But I have to think that with the multiverse being opened up, one has to believe that we're headed towards Secret Wars.
Mhm.
And that's why I think that the cinematic side is headed towards that, and the television side is headed towards Secret Invasion. But at the same time, it's no secret that they may be quietly putting together another team or two with the younger groups that they keep announcing. They announced, of course, She-Hulk, which technically She-Hulk, I think, was she a member of the Defenders, maybe quietly, or no? Who was she a part
Yeah.
of? Nor was she part of
She was part of a bunch of groups. She was part of Fantastic Four. She was part of,
she
I
may
think,
have been an Avenger.
yeah, she was an Avenger. She was like, I think, in a one-off with Defenders, maybe, if I remember correctly. No, I don't think so. Actually,
Because
she
I
was
believe
she was part of a bunch of groups. Right now, she's specifically with the Avengers because the newer Hulk, the new She-Hulk, where she's looking more like Hulk, and so she's with the Avengers now. She also was in a team up quite briefly with the thing that they don't mention too, specifically after in the comic version that they don't mention in the live action version, was that when Hulk was sent to the battle world per se, right? From the Illuminati, they sent him off to a different world and became World War Hulk. He had kids. He actually had a full life. Oh, not full life, but he had a wife. He became king of a planet, Planet Hulk, and he had kids. And one of those kids was actually I forgot her name, but she became like a somewhat of a protege for She-Hulk.
Yeah.
And that was one of the team ups there. I was hoping we'd meet her, and she was awesome, and as well as Scar, I think, the son of Hulk. There's this weird timeline there's this weird like storyline where the current
Doctor Who?
Maestro, or Dr. Maestro or something, like a couple of years back, he took all the powers of the Hulks, like all the gamma radiation, and so they're all human now. But then I would have loved to see the children of Hulk basically get their time to shine. Granted, we got She-Hulk, and that's fine, but like I would love to see Scar. I would love to see, I forgot her name, man, but I'm gonna look it up. But go ahead, continue.
So I think that's where we're headed. I mean, you look at the characters that they're going to introduce, and you have to you have to assume based on, okay, when they introduce this character, what are they going to do with it? They introduce that character, what are they going to do with it? And Kevin Feige has come out and said that when they introduce a character, they're not just going to be tied to their own one TV show, that they are going to cross over into the movie. So we're going to see Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop enter into a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. Oh, by the way, too, Kevin Feige also addressed the fact that they are always open for multiple seasons for these Disney Plus show, and the only
Yeah.
one to receive multiple seasons so far has been What If, and apparently under the radar announced that Loki will get a second season. So I don't know if that just means that they didn't get everything told in season one, or if they just know for a fact that they need some more
Oh.
Tom Hiddleston in our life, which is a possibility. So yeah, they got that going for us. There's just so much going on, and I said, obviously, the teams I was referencing before is possibly building to a champions team or a young Avengers team. Now we know that they are going to make a bigger deal out of Cassie Lang in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Cassie Lang, of course, played Stinger, I think was the character. Basically, Cassie Lang is Scott Lang's daughter. We've seen her in the previous two movies. We saw a preteen or something like that version of her in Avengers Endgame. We know now that Catherine Newton, you know her from Detective Pikachu, is going to be playing the grown up version of Cassie Lang. So Cassie Lang, of course, went to Avengers Academy, was a member of the Young Avengers. We do know that we are going to get America Chavez in Multiverse of Madness. It's only inevitable that we get a Miles Morales. I think that God knows what White Vision's going to do. Maybe we get a Viv, but we do get a Miss Marvel. We are going to get, like I said, we are going to get a Kate Bishop. There's just so much to do. Kate Bishop, obviously, at one point was at least most recently was a member of of West Coast Avengers, along with Clint Barton. Miss Marvel was alongside Miles Morales and Nova, were a member of the main Avengers roster before they were kicked out. And of course, they created Champions. Young Avengers, I think, has been brushed. There is no Young Avengers, and I hope they don't do Great Lake Avengers. But there's just so many storylines that they could do. What is, like I said, what is greater? What is the end game? What is the big bad? And I think that the Thanos level baddie that we are going to get is inevitably, and I think JR, you mentioned this, is going to be Galactus. I think you get Doctor Strange, you get Dormammu, and I think through Dormammu, I think inevitably you get the Silver Surfer. With the Silver Surfer, you're going to get Galactus, and I think it's no doubt in my mind that since we're getting a Fantastic Four movie with John Watts as the director, I think it's inevitable that we are going to see not only, and I hope it doesn't end up as poorly as Fantastic Four 2. I think we're going to get a Doctor Doom, but I think it's going to be one of those deals like Doctor Doom kind of exists in the background, like that. Victor Von Doom is not the main bad guy, but he's just he's always there. Like he's, his company is there, or he's already in Latvia set up, maybe they'll introduce that character. Some have said that Marvel Studios Sokovia is is their telling of Latvia, but I think that would be interesting. Maybe that's what happens. Maybe Victor Von Doom comes back and says, "Hey, motherfuckers, you destroyed my nation, and I want my vengeance." Maybe Victor Von Doom was the king of Sokovia. But I think that to do it right, it's got to be Latvia. They're going to have to be.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? It's Latvia, right?
I think, yeah, if I remember correctly, it was Latvia or somewhere else. I'm trying to look for it right now. I just went through some. I went through the rabbit hole of finding of characters, and I went through She-Hulk Lyra, and she was banished to another realm where she subjugated all the men in her population and became her harem. So there's a little tidbit that I didn't know I needed, that I didn't know I needed to know today. But yeah, I guess she's I will say the apple didn't fall
Latveria. Latveria. Sorry, Latvia I think actually does exist.
Yeah, Latvia actually is Latveria. So yeah, but to end off on to my weird tidbit of Lyra being banished in the realm and subjugating all the men there to become her slaves. So there was that thing. But yeah, to go back on Doctor Doom, I think I just the second that Fantastic Four happens, we will see.
All bets are off.
All bets are off. I because Reed Richards is the smartest man in the world. Like, granted, there are levels of it, sure, and Shuri is definitely up there. Amadeus Cho is definitely up there, but they have yet to crack the multiversal time frame in which Reed Richards has done multiple times in comics. I mean, like, the man has his own freaking Reed Richards like universe type of thing where all the universes of Reed Richards come together and have a council together. Like, if we have that Reed Richards come by, yeah, all bets are off. Like, he is already on that. Give him enough prep time, he's already on that level of like, all right, cool. We have multiversal threats. WandaVision, Wanda is there, and and Doctor Supreme's there, I help out too, and he'll bust out the freaking the nullifier. He'll bust out a nullifier somewhere and just totally freaking evaporate the powers of a god
Yeah.
instantly. It's like because if you have the second you have the second you have the Fantastic Four and the first family, yeah, it is heavily cited on the Earth side, like. And the only person I feel, well, one of the only people I feel that can really combat against that is gonna be Doctor Doom, and done correctly, I feel. And if that happens, dude, if you give him Latvia, or was it Latriva,
Latveria.
Latveria, like like they've done in the comics, yeah, it's we're gonna see some incredibly compelling content with that end, because yeah, the second they have the second they have the Fantastic Four announced, man, it is, I feel, is gonna be that Doctor Doom happens, or Fantastic Four arc happens, Doctor Doom happens, they put him as a possibly a big bad, and then your Secret War comes to be. I feel that's the proper step, because uh a a lot of the roles, or a lot of the storylines that have been put out have been more recent storylines. Like, granted, Infinity War and is a little bit older. Some of the Civil War is like somewhat into 2000s, right? Like
Yeah.
2000. But Jane's story Foster line, that's in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Um, Captain Marvel storyline, that's in the last 10 years, right? What's in the last 10 years? Secret Wars. If they're really going through the canon of comic books, man, that is the most new Avengers, young Avengers, freaking a lot of these characters. I'm hoping Vib comes to be, and if they're trying to, we're gonna go farther into it now. If they're trying to do Secret World, like the patchwork world where God Doom is the reigning supreme king, that might span 3, 4, 5 movies because of how expansive that world was. I mean, like, you had literally one, like, it was built into continents, right? It was built into other worlds. We had, I think we had Old Man Logan there still. Granted, it wasn't Old Man Logan's timeline, but the Old Man Logan storyline, if I remember correctly, still progressed there. And what we would have, they would be able to introduce A Force, where I know that Brie Larson's been pushing for a long time that she wanted an all woman cast
Yeah.
of well known Avengers. There's your A Force, right? Introduce Singularity, awesome character. I know she's Asian, right? Just from even though she looks like even though she looks like a galaxy in Infinity, I know she's Asian.
Yeah.
Introduce the Runaways. Come back. You have I forgot her name, the main character. I know her, like Minoru. I forgot her first name, but yeah, introduce her into Eighth Forces. Okay, aside from that one, you have your quirky, crazy ones, like it has a zombie apocalypse out of nowhere. We'll have Old Man Logan there,
Yeah.
right? Like, what else? You have introduce God Thor's hundreds of freaking personal guards who are their own Thors. He had a personal guard of Thors from every universe. Introduce multiple. You can introduce multiple Spider-Men there too, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's they can play around with it if I feel like if it feel like it's definitely going that last 10-year route where I feel like it's been going, because like, yo, Kate Bishop's gonna be there. All right, Kate Bishop's been the last 10 years. If what's her name? I forgot her name, man. Our first Palestinian. No, she's not Palestinian. She's a Pakistani. A Pakistani.
Miss Marvel.
Yeah, Miss Marvel, right?
Oh
Dude,
my gosh.
it
I can't
is
think of her name
almost
now.
10 o'clock. Yeah, it's Miss Marvel. But yeah, Kamala Khan. Kamala Khan.
Kamala Khan. Kamala Khan.
Kamala Khan is there. That's the last 10 years to 2008, I think, if I remember correctly. She's within the last 10, 20, 10, 15 years, I think, if I remember correctly. Right? If we're
Yeah.
going that route,
Yeah.
if we're going that route, yeah, like the only logical step for for Marvel to go to when it comes to that big, not in the next 4 years, but possibly the next 10 years, like what they've been doing with Infinity War, all that, to lead up to that, right, is Secret Wars. Has to be. I think, like what you said, first 4 years, we might get Galactus. Next 4 years after that, you might get Mephisto. What happens after Mephisto, though?
Exactly. What can he do after that? I mean, they have to be careful about spacing out. I don't think that you're going to get Galactus in phase 4. I don't think you're going to get Galactus in phase 5. You might get Galactus in phase 6 or phase 7 if they go that far, God willing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mephisto. But is Mephisto the end game? We all thought that Thanos was.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Let
us know.
I just do feel that Secret Wars, if that does happen, man, the amount of key players that need to be on screen, that need to be shown,
it'll be bigger than Endgame. It's bigger than Endgame.
Yeah, even if it's a 8 to 10 year time frame, that's still, you're thinking of, like before, in a coronavirse where we have 4 to 5 movies per year. It's still not that big of a time frame. You're gonna need the whole thing of like, Disney's gonna have to do this whole thing and think of like, all right, cool, you're in a movie, you're doing a bunch of freaking shows now, bunch of episodes for a show.
Don't forget too, the one thing that we haven't talked about, and this will be for probably a whole other podcast, because we're going to put a button on this one, is we've laid out this timeline over the next 4 years. We've given you our theories about, okay, they're going to go for Secret Wars. Okay, is where do mutants fit in?
Right.
Do mutants exist in this world? It's been said that Strucker's experiments with the Mind Stone, with Loki's staff, unlocked something in Wanda and Pietro. Oh, by the way, too, Aaron Taylor Johnson in talks to return as Pietro Maximoff in the Marvel Studios, which, by the way, I think that he was done dirty. I like Aaron Taylor Johnson as that role. Yeah. I think he's a good actor. I think that given an opportunity, he could be great. I will say that I was severely let down that after all was said and done, all we got was Ralph Bohner.
That pissed me off, but
you know what though? Is hear me out.
Yeah.
Why? We know, okay, the Ralph Bohner existed already. He was, you saw the picture and you saw he has an electric bill or whatever.
Yeah.
But here's two fan theories. Number one, does Ralph Bohner actually really exist? Okay. Because you remember in WandaVision, we saw Jimmy Woo with his little tote board, much like JR has behind him, and they all had a copy of their driver's license. Okay. Now, and it's assumed that Jimmy Woo would investigate every registered member of Westview.
Yep. Now,
it is said in episode 4 of WandaVision that there are 3,000 people that live in Westview, New Jersey. And they only showed on Jimmy Woo's tote board about a dozen, and it was pretty much the main players from the WandaVision, from the Anomaly.
Yeah.
That were seen on camera. So here's my question is, though we could play devil's advocate and say, well, Ralph Bohner's name wasn't up there. So, and also, by the way, by going back and watching it again, there was no missing person. It wasn't missing town is what Jimmy Woo was looking for.
Yeah.
He was looking for the missing town. So he was looking for Westview, not a particular person. So we could put that to rest. So here's my fan theory. Ralph Bohner does not really exist. Okay. That also was a manifestation of Agatha Harkness. Agatha, here I think Agatha knows how to manipulate the multiverse already.
Okay.
And she knew the best way to get after Wanda was to mess with her head. Because why? Why Evan Peters? You're not casting him because he was some guy. You casted Evan Peters to play Pietro Maximoff from the Fox X-Men universe. You did it on purpose. Come on, Feige. We're not dummies. So here's my theory: is that Ralph Boner does not really exist. That also was a figment of Agatha's little book of tricks.
Yeah.
And who knows, that maybe much like we saw that Wanda, or that they can change the form at Wanda, even though she still looks like Catherine Hahn.
Mm-hmm.
When Wanda puts a spell on Agatha Harkness, she changes her to Agnes, though she still looks like Catherine Hahn. But do we know that maybe these two have powers to change appearance, to manipulate appearance? That maybe there is a Ralph Boner, and she was made to look like the quote Evan Peters, the Peter Maximoff of the Fox universe. So, but that's the other thing. That's the big what if: is why him? Why cast him? Was it to send us on a wild goose chase the whole time?
I think that because I remember reading up on like the things that they wanted to do and things they didn't want, because one of the biggest plot points was that her brother returns, right? And the director for the series has been, from what I've read up and heard, is that one of the big things specifically with the director is that we can get the original Quicksilver to come back, right? But he's like, but hear me out. We just bought Fox, right?
Yeah, the director wanted Evan Peters.
And so, granted, yes, it's hard to look at throwaways. You really can't really have throwaway lines or throwaway actions per se in Marvel MCU right now. But I feel like it's gonna be a tough sell afterwards, because like if it is just a throwaway type of thing, because that's what I got from that interaction. It was a throwaway thing to kind of like to throw us as the viewer on a wild goose hunt, right? I'm gonna go on wild goose chase. And honestly, it sucks because I'm a big fan of Evan Peters. I'm a big fan of that Quicksilver, and as well as the X-Men franchise. And the way that he was depicted, I would love to think that this is definitely we're gonna have two different Pietros, right? This series. I just, though, the things that are coming out specifically from that director, I don't know. Granted, again, of course, retcon is a thing, specifically with Feige, and he can definitely we can definitely change around certain stylings, and we just have to wait until the mutants actually come out. But man, for me, that Boner just put a big damper on my Pietro possibilities, man.
And this also has to be taken into consideration, and we'll kind of put a come to a finish line, a little bow in this one. But we'll just put a finger in it. Won't put a bow on it, but we'll just put a little finger in this. Okay. And our good friend, again, shout out to Daniel Cueto for bringing this up, is when they filmed, and by the way, go back and on Disney Plus, they now have the making of WandaVision, it's a great documentary. I watched it on Saturday morning. Was the production for WandaVision was altered because of COVID-19.
Yep.
They were well into production when it happened, and that the entire second act and most importantly, the entire finale was completely nuked. It was like start from scratch. They completely rewrote the second act to the series and completely obliterated the finale. Yep. So, okay, Pietro, Evan Peters is, just so there's no confusion, we'll call Evan Peters Peter Maximoff, and Jason and what's his name? Andrew Taylor Johnson is Pietro. So Peter Maximoff from the X-Men universe appears in episode number 3.
Yep.
Okay. that's when it really, that was the launching point. And he appears in the end of episode 3, and that's early on in production. One has to assume that's got to be late December, early January, when that, or maybe even in February. They shut down in March. They don't go back into production until I think late spring, early summer. I mean, they were off for months, and maybe there was more, because why would they have a major character like that? Yeah, he appears in the Halloween episode, which was, I think, episode 5. And he just came back kind of like sprinkle here, sprinkle there. You know, of course, he has the infamous Snooper's gonna snoop, and then he's nowhere to be seen in episode 8.
Yeah.
So at the very end of episode 7, he does the Snooper's gonna snoop. That, of course, is the Agatha Harkness reveal. Episode 8 is all about the memory lane, and rehashing all of Wanda's past memories. And then we don't get to see, we see Ralph Bohner in one or two scenes, and there's a moment where he pokes Monica Rambeau, and she like falls backwards, much like Peter Maximoff does in Days of Future Past and Apocalypse and whatnot, where he's running really fast, and he just goes up and bink. It looks like he's just poking them, and they go flying 10 feet backwards.
Yeah.
But of course, they also hinted at that while under Agatha's hex, which was the necklace, he is seemingly has the powers of Quicksilver and Peter Maximoff. So that could be like, people go like, see, that they explain that. I'm like, yeah, but come on, can he really get superpowers through a hex like that? Well, I guess Wanda did, but so I'm gonna leave it up to, hey, we haven't seen the last of Evan Peters. I honestly think that Evan Peters, his version of Quicksilver, will appear in a Marvel Studios movie, whether it be Secret Wars or in some form of multiverse crossover. Who knows? Because he is a fan favorite. I don't know how they're going to do the mutants. Do the mutants exist on Earth 616 in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Will mutants cross over after the conclusion of Secret Wars, much like a lot of characters did in the Secret Wars comic book, where you had Miles Morales become a major part of the main continuity. You had a bunch of other characters cross over from the Ultimate universe into the main universe. Nick Fury, for example, the Nick Fury that we know and love, Howling Commandos, the white Nick Fury, no longer existed after Secret Wars. It became the Ultimates Nick Fury. He became the main continuity. So that could happen. Maybe that we do Secret Wars, because there's no mention of the X-Men. We know that we talked about it last week's episode, that The Mutants is a show or is a movie being kicked around, is in production, possibly in production, but there is no mention of that, which is, they could be keeping it close to the vest. Yeah. And who's to say what the Mutants is? The Mutants could be how they explain that the X-Men cross over from the quote Fox universe, the whatever the Earth they decide to call that, into the main continuity. But I still think that mutants exist in the main Marvel timeline. I think that is yet to be seen. But at the same time, okay, does the blip, the actual blip, we know causes a alteration to your molecules? Look at Monica Rambeau.
Yeah. Does
the energy emitted from Thanos, from the three separate snaps, the Thanos, the Hulk, and the Iron Man snaps from the Infinity Gauntlet, there's amount of energy emitted that could also manipulate. So does the Fantastic Four become the Fantastic Four because of the blip, or do they become the Fantastic Four because of the radiation emitted from the Infinity Gauntlet? I think they're going to be the blip, and I think mutants are going to be unlocked because of the actual energy from the Infinity Gauntlet, the snap, not just them being blipped out of existence and then being put back together.
Okay.
So yeah,
I feel that's definitely gonna have to be another podcast per se to see that, because like that would, if specifically the mutant timeline is gonna be interesting, because that would mean then that Charles Xavier was already here, right? Per se, he was already there then. So that is, it's definitely gonna, that's just a whole different topic for another
can we
day.
just leave it at this, that the mutants,
Yeah,
the existence of the mutants in the main Marvel cinema, we'll just call it this, the Earth MCU.
Yeah,
it's gonna be explained by Deadpool, because it's already said that Deadpool 3 is going to exist in the main Marvel Cinematic Universe timeline. That Wade Wilson is going to go full meta on the MCU. So does he cross over? Is he?
I would not mind if he bust out, if they gave Deadpool a montage of him busting out his big old freaking chalkboard in the back and just like saying, "This is where we at. This where," like, I would not mind at all.
Do that scene behind JR. That scene behind JR.
Yeah. In full suit.
But in full suit, which he kind of does. He technically kind of does in Deadpool 1.
Yeah.
When he's trying to find Francis, when he's trying to find Ajax.
Yeah.
But basically, I mean, literally the exact same scene is behind JR from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. But yeah, Wade Wilson in full Deadpool get up, and which, by the way, nothing like having to explain to your 7-year-old son who Deadpool really is and why he got the name that he got. Of course, the movie explains that he got the name Deadpool because that was the name of the death pool, the Deadpool of all the mercs that they were trying to kill. I don't know, JR, you are a aficionado. Is that how they explain the name Deadpool? How does he get his name in the main comics? Does it ever say?
I totally forgot. I'm pretty sure there was one at one case, but because the writers, specifically from when he first originated to the 90s era, right? Or actually even the early 2000s era, where you find most of the writing. It's just, I don't want to say something right now, which I'm not necessarily sure on right now, because my brain right now is just completely fried, my guy.
Yes, which we're gonna have to put a pretty little bow on this one. So, guys, we'd love to hear back from you. Leave a comment somewhere down below, wherever it is. If you are listening to us in the audio format of this podcast, shoot us a tweet or on our Facebook page what you guys think. Here's the questions for you. Number one, top 3. Give us your top 3 main Earthbound characters within the official Marvel Cinematic Universe are actually Skrulls. We'd love to hear your top 3. So hit us up at PS Comics I Love You on Twitter, or you can find us on Facebook, PS Comics I Love You. Maybe we'll put it on. I'll put it on
Instagram.
On Instagram too, before we or after we drop this podcast. But after you listen to this podcast or watch it on YouTube, if you're on YouTube, comments below, guys. Let us know top 3 who you think your top 3 main Earth or main Marvel characters that are Earthbound are actually Skrulls and are going to be a big part of the Secret Invasion. Also, let us know. You know what? Let us know what you think where Doctor Doom and Charles Xavier are in the greater Marvel. Do they actually exist in Earth MCU? And if so, where are they? Let us know in the comments below what you think. I think that's a little homework that you guys can do. And of course, you can hit us at Twitter. I believe it's a Twitter at PS Comics I Love the letter U. Let us know those things right there. Maybe we'll throw it up there on Twitter after the podcast drops. But JR, anything to close us out here on episode 38, the tinfoil episode?
I'm pretty sure it is, but they're just gonna ask a lot more. We're gonna probably go way too into it again, guys. But just definitely, you know what? Send us more questions, guys. That's it. Send us more questions about your theories of possibly where the MCU might be taking us as well, and just what you would like to see in the next 4 years. Right? That's technically our first new phase of this current generation of Marvel movies and where that's going to take us now. But other than that, guys, it's fun hanging with y'all for the
Of
last.
course,
This was fun hanging again, my good patriot here. And of course, I'm just one of your hosts of this amazing podcast, PS Comics. I love you. I am J.R. Cabacungan, aka the Dark King, and he is.
I am Kevin Pillow at Voice of Reason 23. You can find us on all. You can find me on all social media platforms. Don't forget, guys, if we hit 100 subscribers on YouTube, 100 subscribers across all of our podcast media platforms, whether it be Spotify, iHeart, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, or iHeartRadio. If we get over 100 subscribers or more, we will give you guys. We got a big ass giveaway. Includes J. Scott Campbell and Art Germ covers from the Wonder Woman Volume 7 run.
Yep.
And also, YouTube. If we get us over 100 subscribers on YouTube, same thing. We're going to be giving it away. And we're going to be also too, when we do this, and I'm keeping track because there's been people doing it. When we do this raffle for the giveaway, you can earn more entries into the raffle by sharing our our post on Instagram to your stories or onto your page. Also on Facebook, if you share our Facebook post onto your Facebook page, we will give you an extra entry. And the same thing with Twitter. Give us a retweet, you will get an extra entry into the raffle for I think it's Wonder Woman 50 and Wonder Woman 750. The Art Germ and the J. Scott Campbell covers, respectively. So, all right, guys, have a great night. We will see you next week for the collector's episode. Also, we will see you with a full wrap up of episode 1 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Guys, as always, peace.
Peace out, guys.
Peace out, guys.
All right, man. I got to go, dude. I've been